What's up, everybody? We are live for yet another stream. As you guys can see, the title of the stream has changed. We are no longer calling this a podcast, though it will be podcasted in the future. I'll keep you guys posted about that. I'll probably start working on that tomorrow and set up an RSS feed and all that good stuff. But today I'm joined by Shannon and Rob. You guys should remember him from the last few streams, and Christopher Ferrand.
Hi guys.
Right here. It's kind of awkward. But yeah, today we're going to have an interesting conversation about AMD Zen 2 architecture, which is built on TSMC's 7nm node, as well as Global Foundry's 14nm node for the I/O. A very interesting design. And I'm sure we all have a lot to talk about when it comes to that, as well as Intel's upcoming 10nm node and the new Icelake CPUs, which are set to come out later this year. So yeah, Shannon, Zen 2. What do you think? Do you think?
Sorry, I was popping out the stream chat.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I'm all set up too. All right.
I didn't even check if mine's running. Oh yeah, we're good. But yeah, what do you think? You think AMD has a winner on their hands?
It's tough to say, but I really do think that there's a very distinct possibility that this could be something huge. It really comes down to how exactly they handle everything, as the overall IPC performance, basically everything about how it's going to perform is really critical. What they've shown thus far about what holds true for what they showed compared to a 9900K with 8-core versus 8-core, that could be a badass processor.
Yeah, I saw that. That thing was clocked. They said it wasn't overclocked, but they didn't actually tell us they clocked. And being an engineer,
they said it
sample,
was not. Yeah,
that is pretty impressive.
I think to go right ahead there, Shannon.
Go ahead, bud. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the thing that's really interesting about this new processor, I think, is going to be for portable applications, where it's just where it's going to flourish, like for laptops and things like that. Because right now we don't have excessively powerful CPUs for laptops, right? So unless you're paying top dollar for it. So.
Well, I think both companies are really going to change the portable scape. There's Echo.
What? Is there?
That's what they're saying.
What was that? What was that? I didn't understand what was said.
Someone's saying there's an echo.
Well, you said something about who was running the audio. Was it just for a second? Because I just opened the stream and it had audio, so I had to kill it. So was it maybe just echoing for a second?
Yeah, could you guys confirm whether there's still echo?
Or was it just a quick second?
Oh, you know what?
Damn it, Greg. Damn it, Greg.
I was wondering why everything was so loud.
You had one job.
I had the whole job.
Shannon's voice is echoing.
Well, that's because you guys are hearing him through my lav mic.
Oh, geez.
We're good. Echo is officially gone, guys. Sorry about that.
Is it gone, though? Let's
confirm. Oh, I guarantee you it's gone. 100% guarantee it.
So basically, as far as performance, I mean, if it holds true, which I always take everything with a grain of salt, because let's face it, we had the hype train big time. I think the biggest hype train mishap was Vega originally. And I'm not trying to trash an AMD. It's just they let it get out of hand. And it's not all their fault, but also they put, perfect example, Radeon 7. They went up on stage, hurrah, hurrah, everything's great. Then basically, thus far, what have you heard about it that's been good? There's not a lot.
No, there really isn't. They're not even, they're not talking about it.
Well, I think it's because possibly, I don't think they have limited quantities that certain people were reporting. I think it's just a matter of, people are very apprehensive to just buy an AMD card just based on history, just based on the fact that it's lackluster compared to the top dog. And people still don't, unfortunately, people look at what's the top of performance versus performance for dollar. And that's where AMD's always shined.
You're not lying about that.
But now the thing is, I really feel that this new, with this new architecture, it could be a complete flip. This could be like back in the days when original FX launched. No, I'm not talking like 9590. I'm talking original
The
like
Athlon
OG.
FX series.
Exactly. Those things kicked ass. They were amazing. They were really good.
Their IPC
And
was through the roof.
We could see this flip, and that's where I think you're going to see Intel with a quick reactionary move, like with their 10 nanometer. I think there's going to be, hold on one second. I think there's going to be, it's going to cause a big reaction. Just like the Core Wars, I think if they get this kind of IPC performance, it's going to cause across the board a complete like paradigm shift versus what we see today, which is Intel being the, or not Intel, AMD being the underdog that just happens to be a good value. Instead, we could see a dead heat or possibly even AMD doing better than Intel, which would be a hell of a hit to Intel, especially after everything they've kind of went through with Ryzen kind of nibbling away at market share and sometimes actually snatching a bunch away.
I honestly, yeah, especially when it comes, and I'll let you talk in a second, Chris.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine.
I mean, comparatively to, say, the current generation, I have no doubt that they're going to just wreck, let's just call it the Skylake plus architecture.
Yeah, all the pluses.
All the pluses on 14 nanometer are going to be beat as far as IPC is concerned, and likely even they may clock high. We don't know that yet. There's no evidence whatsoever that the 7 nanometer node is that efficient with the architecture, because I mean it has to go both ways. I mean they have the headroom to overclock high being such an efficient architecture, but at the same time we don't know how the changes are going to affect power consumption, so we don't know the final clocks just yet.
And I was just reading up here quickly that they were going to conserve backwards compatibility also with the current EPYC motherboards. So they're supposed to continue support with them, so you won't have to upgrade to use a new chip.
Won't have to, but a lot of times it is advantageous to do it because there's small features and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's little things you might want out of like if you are actually doing overclocking and things like that, there may be features that you will want to take advantage of with the new motherboard. But yeah, that's what I'm reading up here.
Yeah, for the most part, it's going to be more so just the VRM setups, essentially. Yeah, just the PWM in general with
also PCIe 4. On
oh,
the
that's right. Yeah, actually, that
yes.
totally slipped my mind.
That's an important point right there.
That's one, but the thing is, I mean, let's face it, like PCIe 3, we haven't necessarily saturated that thus far, and we're already bottlenecking cards by the CPU. So I'm really interested to see if these architectural gains, both from AMD and Intel, will potentially fix the issues we're seeing on like 2080 Ti, where
it's still held back.
Even on my 900K at 5.2, like on water, it's just not having it. It's like no thanks. And I feel like but I think that if the performance is on par with what they're saying, this is really going to shake up Intel a bit. And it's going to cause the same kind of war like we saw with the Core Wars, where next thing you know, we went from 10-core HEDT in one generation up to freaking 18 cores. And then all of a sudden, a ridiculous like 28-core that has its own motherboard just to run the 64. Damn thing.
That's right.
Yeah, it is getting pretty crazy with the multi-threading, but I mean, go ahead.
But I think we may now see the frequency
again.
War. And I mean, there's only so far you're going to go.
Chris, you're too young to remember that. How many of you guys remember the frequency wars? Yeah, exactly. Didn't we swear not to talk about that?
Oh, I'm gonna mention it every fucking time because it's such a dark time. It's a dark time, just like Phenom and everything else. And FX 9590 was a dark time for AMD. NetBurst was one of the NetBurst and Larrabee were probably the top two. Where Intel's like, fuck, please stop talking. Just talk about something else. Talk about anything besides that shit, because that's like the black eyes for them.
Yeah, I think a lot of us were thinking the same thing. I don't even have the chat pulled up over here. I feel like an idiot. So I'm missing a lot of what people on Facebook.
It's okay.
I just got to make sure, just in case people are talking, because I just asked how many of you remember the NetBurst.
Yeah, you're asking, but you don't even.
Yeah, I'm not even reading what you guys are saying.
Oh, jeez.
Daniel, did you just say you miss? Oh, you know what? We got a visitor.
that?
I will show you in a second. Let's see.
I get the feeling that somebody might be showing up that is fond of
No,
AMDs.
sadly, no.
No?
Oh, that makes me sad, Panda. Jeez.
Yeah, sorry. I know Shannon was looking forward to this one.
Well, that's the thing. It's not even about looking forward to, like, necessarily combating like the AMD guy. It's more just hearing
Yeah,
his
I
thoughts
was
on
really
it.
looking
You
forward
know,
to that.
We can come back to it next week also if Chris is here. So.
Oh, you know what? Oh, maybe that work?
You don't hear me?
Yeah.
Don't see you.
All right. You don't see me.
Turn your camera on.
I'll fix it. There we go.
There he is.
Fixed it.
Oh, it's Mr. Llama.
Yeah, they can't hear him just
Hey,
yet,
Llama.
but we'll pull him in here right now. Just gotta make a few changes. But yeah, guys, go ahead. While I'm doing this, try to keep it on topic. Where were we at with 7 or Zen2? 7.
yeah, we were talking about just overall what could be there, and I think the other part is really, I think they did a very smart design choice with Zen2, being the fact that they have the small chiplet design, which allows them to shrink the node without having, because one of the issues with like their Infinity Fabric is it does not respond well to die shrinks. It does not respond well to node changes.
Which is a good choice for them to keep the I/O at 14.
So they're 14 nanometer, its own chiplet, like its own base I/O chip. Then they're using the Infinity Fabric structure to basically connect each I/O or each CPU die, which can be 7 nanometer, or whatever they happen to come with down the road. They now have this universal capability with just a central I/O hub, and you don't have to worry about the die shrinking problem. You can do all the chiplets you want. Everything's going to be happy, and the best part is the direct memory access that we were lacking, like on things like Threadripper, where certain dies had to go through Infinity Fabric just to reach knuckle memory.
Right.
So there's a lot there that's going to be beneficial because you could change the I/O die out as you get to a next generation, and you could have any number of features from DRAM channels to you name it. There's a lot there you can do.
It offers scalability essentially.
Yeah, it allows an interconnect for pretty much any type of topology you want for your CPU can pretty much be accomplished with the way they're building out these building blocks or structures. You can drop in 1 die, you could drop in 4 dies, even 8 dies, depending on how you look at it. And there's a lot of potential there.
I wonder if by offering this, if they're not going to go even more of the market share that they were taking from Intel, from like the data center market and things like that.
Well, data center market. Oh, go ahead.
For like essentially commercial applications, I'm wondering if this isn't going to bring on, like I said, they're going to be taking more of the market from them.
Well, they're already kind of doing that, but the problem is data center penetration is very difficult because the people who've worked on that for ages, they don't like to change, like they don't like to just do a massive sweeping change, like, from Intel to AMD, because they have what they've known worked for, decades. Yeah. And all of a sudden to flip that on its lid, it doesn't happen often, so it's not going to be an easy swap. But it could be done, and if it does, that will be a huge hurt on Intel. Because
well, they must already starting to get a little bit of market penetration with that. I mean, there is openness to it.
Yeah, they have customers. They have customers like Baidu and stuff like that. They get that already use their Epic chips. So I mean, it's out there. It's just a matter of getting penetration on a lot of these larger, which is still happening. It's just not as quick as like consumers can swing from one to another.
Yeah.
They move at the speed of Glacier.
Yeah, and I'm sure they've already gotten their own samples that they're working on and see how it works with their systems and how it interacts with what they do.
Well, the thing is, they're already putting BIOS updates out for the 3000 series processors, so these dies are already out there in the wild. Oh yeah,
yeah, they are.
If you look at any like export board.
Oh, okay, for the mainstream chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the mainstream ones, they're
awesome
there.
It turns out though that I think it's all the first generation boards. Well, I don't think all of them, but most of them should be able to support 3rd gen Ryzen.
And that's simply because it just can't push what they're going to be putting into it.
Yeah.
Same way 9900K would overdraw most boards. Unless you have a beefy VRM, it would just nuke it.
Well, what I heard, it was something to do with how much, like, not storage for the BIOS, but something with how they store the BIOS on the motherboard. They didn't have enough room to put third generation on it. Locations.
It's possible. Like it could be like Oprom space. You simply don't have enough. It's very possible that could be a thing.
I'll look up the article and I'll send it in the chat.
But it's an interesting that they're in because they have this socket where they want to support everything possible, but they're also putting out just possibly beastly new chips. Like going from Ryzen 1st gen to 2nd gen was I don't want to say a night and day difference, but it was a damn big difference.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people were telling me.
There's a huge performance gain.
I've seen I've never actually used one personally, but
I have 1st and 2nd gen. I can tell you that is sorry, I'm also doing other things while I'm talking to you guys. Good. I can tell you that they are a pretty big difference as far as performance. I mean, it's much better. The overall scaling is much better. The memory performance is better. Across the board, it's just more efficient. And now and I think these ones, if it goes away, I'm hoping it does, we could be having, once again, an equivalent to like what we have in Coffee Lake.
I mean, are you talking about IPC or are you talking about just overall performance? What do you mean as far as an equivalent to Coffee Lake, Shannon?
As far as overall IPC, the overall like you literally can plug one into side by side, and I truly think these could be either equivalent or possibly even better than what we're seeing today. Like our Coffee Lake refresh, I should say. Like our what they call 9th gen, even though it's technically
it's like 7 and like 3/4 gens.
Let's see. Daniel said because what I've read, latency and multiply. Not that. Low-end boards may not have the BIOS. Yeah, it looks like the BIOS chips on the AM4 motherboards are only SMOL, and this can constrain the amount of CPU microcode vendors are able to store it all at once. 400 series are able to store a roomy 32 millibyte, and all 3rd-gen Ryzen's code. The older 300 series boards are stuck at 16.
Yeah, that's just has to do once again with Oprom space. That has to do with how big the BIOS, like the Oprom flash is. That's
and like you said, they probably weren't expecting just what happened, how the performance increases and everything. Did y'all see what? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was saying, did y'all see what Power Steering said on Twitch about data center integration?
Yeah, it was just bringing about the cost to integrate being astronomical at the moment, essentially. But
that's the thing. I mean,
some hardware is coming to term to be updated, though. That's the thing. So like they have to make the choice whether they're going to maybe go for something that's a little bit more cost effective, or if they're going to go with what they know is reliable, right?
And that's the thing. It's hard to change these guys' minds. A lot of people in data center, and even like
it's their business, right? If it doesn't work,
Greg can speak to this because he works with certain people that possibly would be the same kind of decision makers. And it's hard once those guys have something they trust, even if something is really good, it's hard to get that proof to their mind where they're like, okay, I'll take it.
Especially when it comes to scalability. Intel, they're not going anywhere. They're really not. And
no.
It's one of those things like the return cost on investment to us as a consumer looking at some of these Xeon scalable processors, even the current generation 28-core Xeon that's 8S scalable, it sounds ridiculous, but the cost on return to many companies that utilize those processors, it's still there. I mean, it wouldn't make sense for them to switch to the new EPYC CPUs when it's functioning just fine for them. So the adaptation will be slow.
And also imagine if they build software out that works specifically really well with Intel parts.
Oh, absolutely. And Intel does have an edge on AMD with that.
It would be a nightmare.
Oh, it's a massive amount of time of research and development to put back into that to just make it work. If they potentially have software already written for it, right? But yeah, I see what your point is on that.
That's where it could potentially be a problem is if they write software that works, like let's say they build software out that's based on a specific, whether it be like a basin false or even, whatever, a Pearly, which is the 3647. They build something out based on that and based on how the IO hubs work, how everything works. Then you go in there and say, hey, I'm Mr. Salesman from AMD. I think Epic would be awesome for you. And it's like, that's great, but how's it going to work with this? I mean, unless it scales, let's say it's built out for the IPC and the enhanced frequency that Intel can do on some of their server-side chips when they boost up, that could be a complete shit show for some of these guys because that even with higher core counts and lower cost, if it takes them a lot more time to do work, it's a lost cause for them.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm interested to see, like, this is where I think the Zen2 might actually make a huge difference. Is that, once again, if it's 1-to-1, that's when you start to get those decision makers where it's like, hey, we give equivalent performance. Like, I'm talking true equivalent performance, not, hey, if you can scale it across, 2 times as many cores, but actual true, like, equivalence on eventually they'll be forced to make that decision.
I'm just replying here to Power Steering on Twitch, but essentially what you're bringing up there, he's saying he was just talking about the man hours to build the systems and put them into racks and et cetera, et cetera. Yes. But I mean, that's just an overhead cost that's present whether you're going with Intel or AMD, so it's not something that's going to change.
And most of these companies don't build them themselves. They have companies. They have HPE or something like that do it for them. They don't deal with that.
Yeah, they don't get paid enough for that.
It's not even they don't get paid enough. They have more important jobs that they're paid for.
Or what? They get.
They buy the hardware, they pop it in, and that's all they do. If it blows, they take it out, put a new one in. That's all they have to do. They don't actually put the machines together.
And a lot of these guys are also doing. They're actually getting finished goods. They're getting full servers already built.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the biggest change comes from is if they don't have the capability to, let's say, once again, integrate these into their existing server forest, they're not just going to go out there and completely replace all of their data center. It needs to be something.
They integrate slowly. You never change everything at once because you're just looking for problems if something goes wrong, right? So
exactly. But that's my point: is that if it doesn't integrate well, if it doesn't work equivalently, then they're not going to adopt it. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, they're just not going to care. They're going to go to what they already know then.
They'll try it for a minute and then just be like, yeah, you know what? This ain't for me. Done.
Yeah,
meanwhile,
there's good industry ties that have already been made. Like there's relationships that have been built between these companies and Intel for the past few years, as you were saying. So, I mean, there's a fidelity in there also that you may not want to break.
Well, you also have to take into account, despite, the loyalty over the years, you still have all the issues with the security flaws that have recently had to been patched. I mean, it affects those types of companies more so than it does consumers than anything. So, I mean, there was some lost trust there.
And there is actually, that's actually like a chink in the armor, so to speak, against Intel is when you have these that are not affecting, let's say, an AMD proc. But, at what point, once again, law of diminishing returns, at what point do you look at it and go, okay, yeah, I get that's an issue, but what's the worst of the two?
That's a very good point. And go ahead.
I mean, no, I'm just saying. I was just restating the point. It's like at certain points you got to look at it and go, hey, this just it matters, but how much?
Somebody has to weigh in the pros and cons at some point, and that's the decision maker that's going to pull the trigger on a multi-million-dollar hardware renewal, right? So I mean, they have to make that decision. Some probably will, some probably won't. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a lot of stress under the belt trying to figure out, deciding how they're gonna. Because I mean, that's like you said, multi-million-dollar. I mean, to be the one guy that says yes, we'll change or not.
Well, it won't be one guy. Behind it. You have actual assessments done. You have your tests done. You validate before you pull the trigger on something like that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
there's a lot of validation that goes into it, but still, I mean, even then, we're talking about data center. What about regular end users? I mean, I think that's the most volatile group at this point, where we've got to look at it and go, okay, are these guys, like guys like us? Think about this, Greg. When's the last time you benched an AMD chip?
God, I'm
That's
glad
a hard
Jordan's
question.
not here.
He ain't answering too quick now, is he?
I honestly couldn't tell you. The last time I even owned anything even resembling a modern day AMD chip was probably the Phenom days. I mean, once Bulldozer hit,
There you go. And so
I was
think about
very disappointed. I, like everybody else, was very excited about it.
And most people like us who bench hardware, we bench stuff that
Exactly.
makes us points, right?
Didn't
So-
Alvis run the Threadripper when it first came out on his 4-way 1080 Ti
No,
build?
I don't think Elvis has ever actually
don't think
even
so.
owned a Threadripper CPU.
No, the only AMD processor he owns is the 1600
I
that
didn't
he
even
uses
know
right
he
now
had a
on his pleb
1800.
system.
Or a 1600 even.
1600.
Yeah, but basically, I'll tell you right now, once we get something where it works just as good, and I'm sorry, but right now it doesn't. Even though I'd love to say it does, and everyone says it does, or a lot of people say it does not work. Even in gaming, it doesn't work equivalence. I've done the testing. It is close. It's getting there. But this next one could put him in that state. The problem is you also have Icelake coming, and when that comes, that could potentially once again put them behind, but they would be that much more closer. But we've got to wait and see. And if Zen2 launches as quick as it's looking like, this could be a really awesome time to be like an enthusiast, because there's going to be a lot of fun toys to play with. And obviously until like 10 nanometer launches, which who the hell knows when that's actually going to
Until
happen.
10 nanometer? Intel's 10
Yeah.
nanometer? They're saying this
Yeah,
year.
Intel's
So, I
10
mean,
nanometer
we'll
that could potentially displace, but Zen 2 could be here by next
Exactly.
quarter. I mean, who knows? No one really knows except them. And at the end of the day, if it offsets the existing 1455 pluses after it nanometer,
55.
if it does that, if it offsets it, that's
Plus or
going to be a
minus
huge.
3.
Even if the 10 nanometer comes, and it would be one of the first times in a while where AMD has ousted Intel as far as the leader. And at that point, Intel would scramble and get chips out that probably would slightly beat it, but it would now show that AMD is on equivalence with that, and that would be a huge step in, I think, reinforcing confidence in consumers as far as buying these chips.
Yeah.
But not just that, like on the consumer market, like not the commercial, the consumers, people do actually look at the price of chips when they're building computers. So Intel has consistently been more expensive than AMD for a majority of what they have. And I have a lot of friends that I've built computers for that the Intel chips are just out of their budget. And for the relative performance that they're looking for, right? So I personally have built several computers in the past couple of years that were all off Ryzen and FX computer. Well, not FX, Ryzen's.
Yeah, and Chris Hunter's a big one on that because he builds tons of consumer-based and business-based computers, and they're looking at costs as well. Just how worth it is an Intel system versus a Ryzen?
The price of performance,
price-wise,
and the value really does play a role in how well these things sell, and that's another big reason.
On a consumer level, especially.
Yeah, especially on the consumer level. That's a big reason that the Zen architecture is such a huge success. I mean, they have their APUs. What's the starting price point for those things? Like the 2200.
Oh God!
I mean, Intel has
$50.
nothing to compete with.
Yeah,
that
if you're
currently.
talking like the Athlon 200E or 200G or whatever it is.
Do they make?
Yeah,
They have-
220G.
Oh, they're considered
Yeah,
Athlons?
220G.
Oh,
Yep.
Oh no, the low,
They use-
low,
but they use
low
the
end,
Zen
200G
architecture?
or whatever. Not that,
oh, I did not know that.
but the 2200, the 2200G and all that, the Raven Ridge, those are Zen architecture, and they have Vega CUs on them, and that's been like 2200 and I think 2400 or whatever it is, the Ryzen 5.
2200G, 2400G, and the Athlon's 200GE, 2-core 4-thread, $60. 2200G starts at 100. 240G, I think, starts at like 150.
So now imagine when you get a platform refresh on these, and they are now, let's say, the same price point, but kicking ass on an equivalent Intel part. That's where I think we're going to start to see that actual shift where people are like, hey, these actually could work for me. These are like Intel is now on our list of stuff that instead of, or not Intel, AMD is no longer like a bad word or taboo word in the PC community. Because some people, even though Ryzen works very well, and I mean, I would have no problem recommending it to put in a gaming system. It still is a very taboo word for most people that know a lot about PCs because everyone's kind of been in that same boat of being burned by it.
Yeah.
Well, they've come a long way in the past 10 years, AMD, with everything, basically. So a lot of the consumer trust has come back. They've made a huge presence in like stores like, I'm going to say like in consumer stores, like big box stores like Best Buy and stuff like that. There's a lot of presence in what they sell AMD now, compared to maybe like 5 or 10 years ago.
But you got to remember, that's a big investment in MDF more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But once this reaches a tipping point where the actual performance is there, the products will speak for themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what they need, because right now, if you ask anyone, they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, just get an Intel chip, get this," and that's what you want. Very few people are actually going to recommend an AMD and say, "Hey, this is what you need to do." Most people are going to recommend an Intel still. Once we get to that,
on the other hand, the enthusiast community often offers, not offers, but recommends AMD. I myself personally recommend AMD to a lot of people.
Of course, because it's a decent value. But some people are very, very, I don't want to say whitewashed, but like are brainwashed. Like, hey, Intel's the best it is, and that's all you have. And it's like there's a lot of opportunity to go beyond that. And I think these chips are going to help it get there.
Well, and then you have a bunch of people as well who don't really have budgets, who don't believe in even recommending AMD, yet they won't recommend AMD no matter what, even if it is, and they won't even look at the price and think about what's better for this person. They'll just go whichever one the performance, because they're like, well, I can buy the top chip.
Well,
so
see, that's also a big
recommend
reason I believe
Intel.
that Zen2 is going to do so much better than even the first couple generation Zen architectures, Zen and Zen Plus, just because of the fact that they separated the 14 nanometer I/O, which is a very mature process made by Global Foundries. That costs them next to nothing to develop or to manufacture. The yields are high, so there's really no overhead there. And then choosing to develop, segmented chiplets, separate chiplets from it. I mean, you got to think about the yields there. Granted, 7 nanometers is still relatively new. They could still, just separating those into, separate clusters and taking the I/O out of the equation definitely helps increase the yields, increase efficiency, and that whole interconnect, not having to run through just separate CCXs, which created a lot of latency, to CCXs having no memory controllers whatsoever or PCI Express lanes, stuff like that doesn't exist in this new architecture. So,
and I'm really hoping the new I/O hub actually has extended frequency capability for memory, because that's probably been the hardest part, is memory compatibility and frequency compatibility.
Hopefully that dies with Zen Plus.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, they did do much better. I mean, it's insane how good it's gotten as quickly as it has. I mean, compared to where Intel's had years to build on top of what they did with Conroe, it really has been amazing to see them pull this off. And what is it? A few years, maybe 2-3 years. They pulled off what they did with Zen 1 and then the Zen 1 refresh.
It happened so rapidly. It was, it was unbelievable how quickly they came back into the game. It was really unexpected. And when they said, when people were saying they caught Intel, with their pants down, that was pretty much a saying for a long time. They're right. Intel did not see it coming. And
I don't think even enthusiasts like us originally believed it until we actually saw until we saw the proof in the pudding. Then we're like, wow, you know, they actually did a really good job with this. And especially coming away from the always big talk of RTG, that's also created a big stain on AMD as a whole, as far as, you know, the hype train that's gone on with everything from AMD. And now we just believed, hey, you know what? This is just more of the same crap, more of the same, always, you know, talking it up but never delivering. And now they're actually delivering, and they're showing what could be really. I mean, obviously, we take it a grain of salt, just like a 28 core at 5 gigahertz.
Yeah.
You know, chiller, whatever it may be, whatever. But at the end of the day, if they're able to pull off the performance they're showing, especially on ambient cooling, like an air cooler, like let's say a box cooler, dude, that's gonna kill.
Well, we know the power consumption is
right
going to be pretty low, thus the heat consumption should be relatively low at stock clocks. That's definite.
You know what? I have seen die shrinks that have
so
actually caused a higher thermal output.
But just, I mean, the fact that they're
that's where
separating them into separate chiplets, I mean, I don't think that that's going to be an issue. I mean, the package itself is rather large, considering
IO package is huge,
but that's
actually
the least of the worries when it comes to heat dissipation.
Oh yeah, but the thing I'm excited about, well, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see like what kind of issues possibly that IO chip has. That's another potential hang up, is that IO chip. Who knows if that thing will have any, who knows what kind of wattage that's going to be. I mean, it shouldn't be much, but you never know. Depends what they throw at it. It depends how, like for instance, when you may have to up voltage the IO hub in order to increase, let's say, memory. Let's say you can do 4,500 megahertz memory, right?
Yeah,
that thing may take a decent amount of power.
Absolutely.
And that could end up being a big drain on you and just a big pain in the ass. I mean, we don't know. There's just so much that's unknown at this point about this.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really say anything outside of it just being a separate centralized I/O die in this, you know, that's controlling all of that.
They're
They
just
didn't give us
teasing
any
for the
information
moment,
about the
anyways.
I/O, only the individual chiplets. Which even then, we really don't know much. I mean, we know, what was it? They were displaying the EPIC processor performance. Was that what they were displaying at that one event not too long ago?
No.
CES? No, it was their consumer
It was a
chip.
consumer
It was
chip.
their consumer chip versus a 9900K. They ran Cinebench, and it beat it beat the 9900K
And
at Cinebench.
that was on an engineering sample, which is extremely impressive. Because I know they were
of course, but
they did improve their floating point performance, so I'm assuming they probably widened the whole entire architecture quite a bit.
I'm interested to see if that was accomplished. If we get the same out of the box or retail clocks, because you could always take an ES chip, have it preset for a specific clock.
And we don't know what the 9900 was at
And then
either,
next thing you
so
know,
it's still kind of up in the air.
Yeah, everyone's assuming it was at stock, but there's no telling.
Yeah, let me look this up, because I honestly, I only talked with people about that particular event.
Yeah, and
I
there's
haven't seen it.
I did a write-up. I did a small write-up on it that it lists some very specifics, like the score on Cinebench and stuff. It gives you a good idea of the overall scaling, since supposedly, and once again, this is a supposedly, they said it was an 8-core die, a single chiplet, and that was like similar to the one that Lisa was holding. But once again, who knows what kind of thermal barriers you're going to run into once you get to a retail chip. For all we know, that could have been direct die cooled. We just don't know.
Yeah, they never showed the actual system itself.
Yeah, I'm seeing it here. Yeah, beat it by it's within a margin of error, 2057 to 2040.
It is, and that actually especially with the float you get with Cinebench, that actually is within the margin of error, because there's a decent amount of float in
But
CBR15.
I mean, at the same time, that is a huge improvement, considering the 9900K has
especially
a factory all-core boost clock of what, like 4.5 gigahertz? All-core, all 8.
Oh, all-core.
So
yeah,
that, I mean,
4.5.
Granted, this thing was likely clocked lower, knowing AMD. And it being an engineering sample. But once again, like you guys said, like Shannon said, we won't know until they release more details. I'm trying to find that presentation of Epic. Didn't they do a presentation on Epic with separate chiplets?
I don't think so. I don't think they've done anything with Zen2 Epic yet. I'm hoping that the new APUs can utilize 3 gigabytes of VRAM buffer. Intel just making new GPUs, so they'll probably make newer, better APUs as well to counter AMD on both markets, question mark. Would like to know your guys' view on that. I'm going to say they probably aren't going to get close to AMD on APUs in a while. Because, I mean, you also have AMD who makes custom chips for, like, the consoles and things, and they're running...
I don't know about
that,
just
nuts
Llama.
right now.
Yeah, I would not say that. You weren't in yesterday's where we talked about the Gen 11
They just showed
GPU.
it off at
Icelake, man.
Was it
You gotta watch
GTC?
out.
Yeah, it was at GTC. Or
Yeah,
GDC, I'm
GDC.
sorry.
GDC.
The Gaming Developers Conference.
Game Developer Conference, yeah.
So y'all think that their APU could actually match
it just did.
AMD?
Well, they're
what
already
they
having a
showed us-
massive jump in performance compared to what their
let me
old chips
pull
are
that up.
doing already. So I mean, we're gonna have to compare.
Well, I mean, it doesn't take a lot to be a massive jump.
Shannon,
from
do you have that
their
link?
APUs? Or
No,
Well,
this-
it's a 270% gain in
Could you,
performance
send it to me?
compared
Yeah.
to the Generation 9. That's huge.
This is
You got a link
almost.
for that?
Yeah, I'm checking right now. This is almost, dude. This is Llama. It's no joke, man. This is like, the jump was.
Well, they said 2.7 times, so 270.
It was going to be equivalent to like a 2200G, and that, I mean.
Yeah, that's a huge jump
damn
for
good.
Intel.
But my question is though, because you also have AMD with their what's the AMD and Intel combined chip?
Right.
No.
That's a very select thing. That's a very niche product. That's like what they have in Hades Canyon,
Yeah.
where they have the KB Lake G, I think it was.
Yeah.
Here's
Okay.
Here's the architecture details. I'll drop it into
Bookface.
the book face.
Sounds good.
I'll drop it into the
Oh,
book
yeah.
face one, and
The book face.
I will drop it into Twitch so that we make
Good
sure
deal.
we have it on both sides. Because even though apparently we're going to talk about this again, because
I'm
yesterday,
sorry.
no,
I
it's
wasn't
fine, it's
invited yesterday.
Yeah,
I got
sorry,
no- I
I
couldn't
wanted to
watch
have
it.
you yesterday,
No, it's
but
fine.
we had what? 5 people in total.
We were 5 people. It was a lot of people.
Llama, you might
fine. And that
disappear
was
for
tough.
a second.
That was really tough.
Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna
That's
pull you
fine.
back in here in 1 second.
I-
I'm sorry. But while I'm
let's
getting
see.
Llama in here, let me do this.
Let me pull
Let
this
me-
over to a different screen. God damn, this game is like the worst for trying to look at other things on monitors. God
Oh,
damn.
Chris, your name tag disappeared. Because I'm doing this more so for Llama,
Uh-oh.
so he could see.
Oh,
What
I
happened
got it
to
up on my
Chris?
screen. I'm about to shut this damn game. I don't know.
Chris is like dead.
What happened to you, buddy?
Not Chris.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
just
that
give
was
me a
his
moment.
actual
I'll be
connection.
right back.
Okay, Christopher will be right back. That gives me a chance to bring in
Yeah.
Llama.
And I should be back right now.
All right.
That's
Yeah, it
that
looks like it
wonderful
just came
iPhone
back.
camera.
Because iPhone webcam is a thing.
Yeah, it's an awful thing, but it does exist.
Hey, it's doing it. I mean, what can you do?
The problem
I
isn't the
don't
phone
see
itself; it's the
Llama.
application that keeps crashing. It's transmitting
Man.
the webcam.
Nathaniel realized very quickly that we have no love for
I don't
Llama.
Oh,
Aw.
unless he's behind. He was hiding behind.
It's okay, Llama.
He was hiding behind Chris.
Behind.
Okay, so this
Oh
kind
my
of just
gosh.
flip-flopped.
Hey, I don't want to know what you were doing behind Chris, but I am somewhat curious. I mean,
Don't question.
I'm-
It. Just llama stuff.
I'm not that type of person, guys. I'm sorry, but nope, that don't work for me. My girlfriend's probably
You get-
actually watching right now. So
were you Llama? Were you poking him with the Llama stick?
llama stick. Oh God.
I keep all things hidden. You're not allowed to know
Oh,
my secrets.
Jesus.
I think you should go
let's
back
see.
and play some Satisfactory there. So
Shut up.
put your
My
llama
stream
stick.
was
All right,
fucking
but
up.
Llama,
I
if
don't know
you
what's
can
going
see
on
the
with it.
stream
let's see.
right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm reading it right now on this.
Yeah, but for anybody that wasn't here yesterday, the link is down in this description below. But man, did they increase their
I don't know.
throughput on these things.
I don't know if
What's
I
that?
have rights. I don't know if I have rights to post links in Twitch
Oh, you
because
know
it
what?
didn't
I'll do it.
link. It just like posted.
Yeah,
the
I
text
forgot.
for
I
it.
was gonna sign mod rights to you guys. You guys are getting it in Twitch right now.
Furry stuff. No. Let's see.
Don't lie. Don't lie.
Gen 9 GT. What is GT2? I'm stupid.
Gen 9 GT2 is like the Intel Iris Pro, like, you know, the top of the line Intel iGPU for the iGPUs. So it's like the top one.
I got you.
GT2 is like the best one, so it's like the one you get like a 900K.
No, go ahead.
So basically go ahead. Basically figure the 10 nanometer, the Icelake based chip, the GT2 version, the top one that would be equivalent to roughly 2200G, would be like on that 10 nanometer version of like the 900K.
And this is the same. These slices will likely be used in the new GPU. I would imagine the discrete GPU. We talked a lot about this yesterday. If you guys are interested in hearing that talk, plus a lot more, feel free to tune in to or check out our podcast from yesterday.
But I think this is actually going to be a really good thing. I mean, it's all we can do is guess at this point until we have more concrete data. We've only seen what they've shown, and well, we've seen too many times where that can talk up really great and end up being nothing in the end. Because a perfect example is like Radeon 7. I love it, an idea, but then it's like everyone is like super stoked because they're like, yeah, Navi, and then they're like, yeah, it's Vega 7 nanometer, and everyone's like, well, fuck.
Yeah, it's all just speculation at the moment anyway, so we can't go off anything until we have actual numbers that are proof in fact, like, so.
I'm interested in it because that really, because the APU market is kind of like, it's not bad, but I think it could definitely competition.
I think that's going to put a huge hurt. This is what I said last night. I think it's going to put a huge hurt on NVIDIA's and AMD's own like lower end tier cards. You know, like the 730 or 1030 or what have you. If it performs really well, that could potentially now create a much more tangible like esports based system just with a CPU in it.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm kind of curious at how 7 nanometer AMD.
I just pulled up. The Zen2 preview, I believe it was with the EPYC chip. Yeah, this is with a 32-core EPYC server chip.
I found it.
Yeah, they actually demoed both of them. They demoed a versus dual 8180s.
And they actually outperformed them. I don't know what they used to actually, what benchmark they used, but I did come across that video like last week.
That's the problem, is they don't have like a defined
so I don't
measure.
know what kind of instructions
they're
using.
like, oh yeah.
Whether it was, you know, AVX type instructions, which they did state that they did increase the vector computation to what, 256 bits or something like that per core. So their AVX, their vector throughput is absolutely insane. So we don't know what kind of instructions that was running.
It's gonna go away.
Or even how many threads it was scaling.
And that could have been anything, and they could have. And let's face it, it's marketing, dude. They're going to put Intel in the worst light possible. So they found whatever app is going to give them the highest performance. And that's not
Intel does the same thing.
That's just how you
Exactly. That's just how that's just how it is. There's nothing you can do about that. I mean, nobody's going to bash on them for that.
But it is promising, because let's say that's best case scenario. If it's slamming, if a single EPYC chip is able to but if it's able to fucking destroy dual 8180s, hey, you know what? I'm on board.
Yes,
that's
absolutely insane.
Yeah. I'm okay with
this. Go ahead.
I'm okay with this new planet we're going to live on.
Yeah, on the screen I have right now, guys, for the next one, they're going to be able to see the stream in real time, so they'll be able to see what I'm seeing. If you guys are on Facebook, by the way, there's usually a minute plus delay. Sure, what's that face for? So if you guys are commenting or anything like that, we don't see it for a good minute. Just so you guys know.
And so, yeah, not just that, but just it's not that we're ignoring you. It's just we don't know.
Yeah, that's why we have a Twitch stream going on right now. It's linked in the video description. If you guys want to go there, it's like a few seconds as far as the delay.
Yeah, it's a lot less latency.
Okay, but on the screen right now, I have the change, which shows the way the original. No, that's not the original. Yeah, that's the original Zen EPYC CPUs on the left, and then there's new Zen 2 on the right. Is that an EPYC? I would imagine it is, but they're only showing 2 chiplets. But whatever, you guys get the idea here. On the left, you'll see 4 separate dies, which all have their own
Their own
IOs, and they're all. I mean, everything is integrated into each separate die. But I mean, this is also Epic, so this didn't have all the issues that say Threadripper had, which was a huge memory bandwidth issue because it had separate memory controllers. 2 of the 4 CCXs were only active.
Not just that, but they also had that issue where not about the CCXs, but the fact that they're not directly connected to memory.
Yeah, that's true, and that's why the new IO is, or the separate IO is going to be such an advantage for Zen2.
Yeah, it's going to truly change the way the interoperability of the chips. I think it's going to make it much better.
And I'm sure most of you guys have seen this, but this is the actual package here. You can see in the original, well, these are Epic chips or Threadripper chips. How they were 4 CCXs, and here you'll see the I/O sitting in the center, built on Global Foundries 14 nanometer node, and then you have 8 individual chiplets. And was this a 32 core or 64 core? Did they say in this article?
No, I don't think they actually disclosed what it was.
Oh, that thing's just.
I mean, we're gonna have to.
That's just nuts, though. But they can do.
I have to assume that picture would probably be 64.
Well, they can do 8 cores, 16 threads per chiplet, so it can be 64 cores. It could be a number of things. That's the beauty of this. It's a scalable CPU. It's like modular for them, as far as manufacturing goes.
They can drop on whatever chiplets they want. If they want 8 chiplets on it, technically they could build that.
And I'm sure they will.
It may be a hot mess, to hook it to the I/O die, but who cares? I mean,
not necessarily.
At that point, no, I'm saying it could be, depending. I mean, let's face it. We've seen AMD make their own hot messes and then step in them many times.
I mean, every company has done
it. Yeah. No pun intended, right? Hot mess.
Jesus Christ.
But I do feel like that they are making the right they are making moves in this.
Told you guys
once
about
again.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Shannon. Go ahead.
All right, go.
No, because people were saying I think that's Nathaniel that jumped into Twitch. He's like, that made a massive difference.
Yeah.
One massive chip, would it be too much? Would it cost be too much? No, because that's part of the scalability.
Are you talking about like one massive AMD chip, like a 64 core in a single die? Yes, that would be extremely expensive regardless. I mean, even if it was on 14 nanometers.
Performance-wise, isn't that you have a maximum footprint you can go to because of latency?
I mean, it would be an
issues.
entirely
you can't just,
different
scale
architecture at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is where it's going to get interesting, because you definitely do have the capability to, they have the capability to like basically build on as much as they want on there. And being the fact that they're such small chiplets, they can build them right around the I/O die. So I don't think there's going to be that much of a linkage, in my opinion.
No. Yeah, I mean, and the fact that they're not relying off of one another's memory controllers is going to be the biggest advantage. They all have their own, level 1, L2, L3 cache, but they're not going to rely off that memory anymore, at least.
Hopefully it'll be a lot easier to build these chips out and not have the issues we've seen in previous gens.
Well, just the last 2 previous gens. Beyond that, I haven't really seen many issues.
They were trying.
Well, Cher commented something.
Yeah, when Llama was talking about furries and stuff, it was just bad timing.
Oh, yeah.
With what?
Just ignore Nathaniel.
Why? What is he saying?
That's what I do. It doesn't matter. It's about the whole furry stuff.
Oh, God. Don't bring that up.
Yeah.
Burn it with fire. Burn it with fire.
All right. Well, I guess that's I don't think we could cover much more with Zen2, to be honest. There's just too much.
I think I think there's not much more yeah, exactly. There's not much more we can really say without just saying. I mean, I literally am hearing myself just echo the same thing over and
pretty
over.
much.
It's interesting.
Yeah, sorry guys, I was really distracted because even I started forgetting everything that I read and saw about Zen 2. Because like you said earlier, they haven't really talked about it much recently. There isn't hype about it.
There's been little tidbits. The problem is you forget about it until you start talking about it. Then you think you're like, oh yeah, this one thing.
Yeah,
so we end up keep redoing it. Then you follow up with I think it's awesome.
Has there been anything new recently? Like within the last few months? Any new information?
Not that I've seen.
Have they been?
Except the leaks of the potential, the rumored specs, like the fact that there's a 16.
16
is
core
it 16
consumer.
core? Yeah, 16
Like
core,
the
32
mainstream
thread
Ryzen?
that will turbo. Yeah,
Yeah.
that will turbo up to 5.1 gigahertz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, see, that's the thing is, I never trust a rumor mill.
We don't
know
know.
there
I
will
mean,
be a
we don't know how
16
true
core
that-
eventually. I do believe Lisa Su did confirm the fact that they will make a 16 core mainstream chip.
Well, when she held up the original chip, when she held it up and it had the one I/O die and the one chiplet, it's easy. I even snipped it and looked at it, and there's an area. It's very clear and defined that die is
Yeah,
offset,
you can see that
where you could fit
easily.
a second die.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I didn't actually do any measurements on it because I didn't have a picture where it was perfectly squared. But you know, just by eye, you could tell that you could easily fit another chiplet in there.
I think maybe it was the actual point of it too, is they wanted to leave themselves some room to be able to add stuff to it.
You know, why not? And that also brings down the cost of manufacturing. You could still make an 8-core one by using 2 faulty dies with 2 cores, 4 threads. Especially if they're very efficient.
And let's also face it, they could be holding back, and I hate to say it, but they could be doing the standard thing that everyone does of holding back the 16 core until they need to put it out.
That is true.
But now they have it's not an afterthought. They have it ready. It's literally not necessarily drop the die on. That makes it sound too simple. But it's almost just like, okay, drop the die on and you're ready to run. Even though it's not that easy, it goes into making a chip, but it is in essence kind of that easy.
Ew, why did that just show up?
Nathaniel actually had a question on Twitch chat. He was asking, why is there not much talk about the Threadripper anymore?
What do you mean? What
Current Threadripper has it has its place in the market, but I think a lot of people that talk up AMD, they don't really realize a lot of the disadvantages they had using the CCXs. The original concept using the CCXs of Zen and Zen Plus in as a consumer CPU. It really does shine in certain scenarios where it's not memory bandwidth bound and they're able to utilize that high thread count. But outside of that, Threadripper, the 16-core Threadripper is probably the sweet spot, I would say. 16 and the 24-core. The 32-core Threadripper has a lot of issues from what I've seen. It's not even overkill. It has a lot of issues. It's really held back by memory bandwidth in most situations that actually need to utilize all 32 cores and 64 threads. Have you ever done any testing on that, Shannon?
Yeah, I have. I have a 2990WX. There's only like 2 motherboards that actually can run the damn thing.
That I did not know.
3 boards, because most of the boards, the VR, don't get me wrong, they can run it. But the VRMs, like I actually had to get a Zenith Extreme Alpha, which I just recently I just released a review on 3 days ago, because of the fact I had a X399 gigabyte X399 Gaming 7, and it was a complete nightmare, because anytime I would run let's say a long render, the VRMs would just start to cook, man. But now you look at the Zenith Extreme Alpha. Pull it up. Actually, Gregory, you could pull it up real quick. Take a look at my review where I did the shot. Yes. The VRM is literally like a T. It's a 16. It has 16 60 amp power stages, IR 3555s.
Could you send me a link very quick? Send it to me, and I'll pull it up on the screen.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
I actually want to see this.
Let's see.
So I hear you all missed me. So.
No one missed you.
Jesus.
Okay.
God damn it.
Devin's here. Devin, you want to talk about
he
some
just
AMD?
snuck in on you.
You didn't see me like pop and then pop back up with a different shirt on?
No, because I have my Skype back here. I'm not. I'm looking.
Interesting.
Well, I have the OBS feed. But
You
yeah,
just
guys,
don't
I'm gonna be
care about
throwing
you,
Devin into the stream now, who actually, funny. I gave Llama your profile, so let me just set this up very quick. But guys, go ahead. Yeah, I think that pretty much. Oh yeah, never mind. That does not sum up everything because I'm actually gonna share that link, and we're gonna check out this board that was required to run your 2990 WX.
WX. That thing's, and the thing is, that chip is, dude, to stock, it does over 250 watts draw.
Well, that doesn't surprise me, to be honest. It's a big chip.
Yeah.
So it's like an FX 8350.
No, that would be a 9590.
9590. Yeah, that thing was.
I was just
It
making
was a
fun of
heater.
FX. It wasn't.
Well, you didn't even
entirely
make the
true.
good joke, so
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
you should.
I
be.
would respect that, but it's not culturally appropriate.
Oh my God, we missed you, Devin.
You know what, Greg? I'm actually gonna. It's 11:30 for me, so
Okay.
I'll actually leave my slot to Devin, so you don't have to rescale the whole stream.
Sounds good, man.
And I wish you guys a good evening, and I'll see you guys on next week's stream.
Absolutely, buddy.
Take care,
See you, Shannon.
Christopher.
See you, Greg.
No
Go
worries.
drink.
Devin.
Don't
If
drink
you-
too much bad milk or bagged milk.
I don't drink milk.
Yeah,
don't-
just put it like in your hat and like
See
with
you
the
guys.
straw and stuff.
All right, I'm putting you in
Now,
right
if you want to see, the actual, let's see. I'm pulling it up right now. I'm trying to pull up where exactly the picture is because that way you could show it. There, that's a good shot of the fucker. Here, I'll copy image. Look,
But yeah,
address.
I mean, Threadripper has its place, and the biggest thing is it's the PCIe lanes, is it not? I mean,
Yeah,
that's-
it has 64 PCIe lanes, but there's still the problem is it's not a gaming chip. That's more like a workstation chip.
yeah,
And
yeah.
even then, a lot of workstation tasks are more frequency dependent than thread scaling at this point. So it doesn't have a huge advantage on a lot of benchmarks. It really depends on what benchmark you're running.
Yeah, someone just
Yeah.
wrote, yep,
You think
a
we
Depends on what
serious
program
room
you're
heater.
running.
You want to see a serious room heater? Check out a 7980 XE. I can
Yeah,
actually
no
feel
shit.
the heat coming out of this thing from this small radiator. And it's at stock clocks.
I don't want to think about how hot my 6950X is getting.
Oh, those were warm too. Mine was.
But
hot.
now-
I'm pulling up
it's on
that
an
article right
H60.
now.
Gregory, you know W Prime,
Yeah.
right? 7900X does a 1024M at 64.6 stock clock.
I believe that.
Whereas that thing turbos over 4, and yet this thing's like chilling at 2.93 gigahertz, whatever. I forget what it clocks at now.
Yeah, that.
Nathaniel asked, does it do well on Cinebench, though?
Oh yeah. Hold on, let me pull up my Cinebench score. Hold on, I gotta find it.
Oh, we're gonna start
Uh,
e-peening here, guys. Do you have an R20 score with that thing yet?
No, I don't, because I pulled it off the bench right as I got my local copy. Okay, so let's say I had the MSI Meg X299 creation board with 7900X. Did 2200 points on R15 on multi-core. This one did 5032
At
shit.
what frequency?
at stock.
And that
completely
runs
stock.
at what, like 3.839?
Yeah, no. It does much lower
Oh
than that.
wow, that's what my 18
Hold on.
my 18 core ran, like 5480, but that was at 5.5.
Exactly.
That's pretty
This thing-
impressive.
This thing max boost clock. Now its base clock is 3 gigahertz, which when it will do a little turbling like 3.2, 3.4 when it's under heavy load. But now imagine that's 64 threads able to run that at that speed. So its max boost clock is 4.2, but that's obviously in ideal conditions.
Yeah.
Now, if you take, like, for instance, I was able to overclock the thing. Not a lot, but I was able to overclock it, and it was fun. It pulled over 500 watts at that point.
That's insane.
Yeah. I can see that.
It was insane. I was able to get my Cinebench with Precision Boost Overdrive, just PBO. I was able to get Cinebench down to 27.236 seconds, and I was able to get
Wow.
a 4.1 gigahertz run on W Prime all core, and it was 25.131 seconds.
Oh, no shit. That is
I mean,
impressive.
it hauls ass.
And that was all stock.
That was no, that was my overclock.
Oh, okay.
The other one's like 29 seconds with its all stock.
Okay, I have.
So it wasn't a.
Oh, Ivan's here. Hey, Ivan, you're more than welcome to join in if you want. Do you just want to do audio?
Ivan, I do need someone here more. I do need someone more hideous than me here.
Let's see. Nathaniel said, just thinking of all those threads would help on there, or is it too many for the bench to handle properly? Cinebench how far does Cinebench even scale?
Cinebench, I have not found the limit yet. It does 64.
I think he's talking about
R15?
2990 WX.
R15 does 64 threads, no problem.
I think it does over that, to be honest. But the thing is, it just at some point it's just too short of a benchmark. It just kind of tops out.
And that's what R20 is supposed to fix, right?
Yes, because it puts more load, so it takes longer. I will tell you, I actually found that limit, Gregory, on W prime. If you do 32M W prime, it takes so long to prepare the threads, it actually runs longer.
Really?
Because you know how it builds up. You know how when you kick off W prime, how it starts, it like prepares all the threads before running.
Yeah.
It times that time when it's preparing the threads. So it has to prepare. It has to prepare 64 threads. So as it's trying to run, it's like, and it just falls on its face.
I'll keep that in mind when I get the 28 core Intel.
I'm super stoked to try like a Dominus or something, or even the Gigabyte 3647 and like a 3175X or whatever the hell
the
28 is. I think
that's just an insane monolithic die.
That thing is so huge. I'm super stoked. I know I'm probably a bad person, but the first thing I want to do is try lapping it and
You're a terrible person.
See how it works. I literally want to lap it and just see like how it improves it. But more than anything, I just want to put the thing under the fire and see what I can make it do, especially under productivity test. That's the thing. Testing it with gaming, all that stuff's fun, but I want to see what it can do just crunching out real work. But good luck.
Dino's in
I
here.
don't have a big enough following.
Sorry, Dino.
Oh shit! What's up, Dino?
We're talking about AMD.
I don't have.
But we're
I don't.
switching
I don't
to
have,
Intel in a second.
Go ahead.
No, actually, we were just talking about the 3175X.
Yeah, I don't have a big enough following to get that chip. Like they won't send me. Otherwise, I would love to get one hands on one to try it. But it's.
I know
not
Alan
happen.
has one. He was posting up some of his scores.
Alan,
the power draw on that thing's just absolutely insane. Shannon, by the way, I have your. Devin, where'd you go? Are you okay?
I'm right here.
I don't see.
Sorry,
you.
I have a game opening, so my whole screen went black.
Wow, I will tell you that Alan, I watched when Roman did it. And they were pulling like 1,200 watts.
Yeah, and
I was like, holy shit, that's like a whole PSU just
yeah,
to power the.
High Cookie said he ran one upwards of 1,800 watts. He fried the CPU.
I make those noises too when I go to the bathroom.
Devin, you are no longer invited to any of these. Okay.
Dude,
this is racist.
I'm so glad I have multiple circuits like right over here where I test stuff, because I can only imagine being like some dude trying to test hardware in his house without like on one circuit. Imagine trying to run that and watching the wall.
Oh yeah, especially here in the U.S. For anybody out there that's in Europe, you guys have no idea how great you guys have it.
Yeah, James can go shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah, I have a dedicated 30 amp breaker actually just for this office.
I'm in my bedroom, my I try not to do too much.
I have a
modders don't have a lot of power draw.
Over here by my where all my test areas are, I have 5 20 amp outlets.
Devin, no one can see what's
damn
on your
right.
screen.
That's what you need.
Oh, can you really not see the meme?
No, it's just a blur. You don't have enough light, so it's just blurring it.
The goddamn OLED. Ah.
That's your own fault.
But anyway, the next topic of discussion, since we already got, we spent plenty of time on AMD's Zen 2. We're going to start talking about the upcoming 10 nanometer node from Intel.
Can you see it?
And of course, Icelake. And for the first time, they're starting to name the architecture of their cores. Not just the architecture of the overall package, but they're actually giving a name to the particular core within the package. So small cores, big cores. Small cores are more for the system on chip, the SOCs. and big cores being all the consumer server chips, stuff like that. But yeah, Shannon, what do you know so far? I should ask Dino. Dino, what do you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's gonna
Give us some inside info, man.
Oh, hold on. He's just gonna jump onto that. He's gonna jump on
If
that.
you got
sword
Skype,
for
just
us.
call me up.
Yeah, get in here.
I'm stoked for it, dude. The problem is, I'm stoked because basically this is where we're going to start to see once again I'm hoping like a real new architecture again, where they have the possibilities are endless as far as what they can do. I'm excited to see it. The problem is there might have been a press day I just didn't go to.
Yeah, it was
where
in
they
December,
talked about
actually.
it. I don't have enough information to know on the background on that, and that's fine with me. I'll see it soon enough, but it's just interesting to see exactly what's going to happen, especially since it's been so long. It
has been a long time since we've seen considerable changes within the architecture.
What is it? 14 nanometer plus.
I think you said 55 pluses, and I gave it a tolerance of a plus minus 3 pluses. It's somewhere. I mean, it's within the margin of error, 55, I believe.
I'm pretty sure Intel's just gonna collapse.
Dino put haha resigns.
No, don't resign.
we need the leaks.
No, but as far as I'm right now what I have pulled up is this was from 2017 at ISSCC, and they were comparing the 14 nanometer node to the 10 nanometer node, which was in development now for how many years? Since I think they announced it in like 2015 or 2014.
I was gonna say it's been like 4 years. It's been like 4 years.
It's been a long time, but given that there is the possibility that they were just holding out, and that they were developing on the 10 nanometer. I mean, they have the budget for R&D. I mean, is it crazy to think that they were not just developing the 10 nanometer process and working out the yields, but figuring out ways to develop beyond that on the same node, which it could very much be the 3D stacking that we're seeing, being the R&D that they really put into development of the architecture through that 4 or 5 year period, as opposed to bringing it to market with just the traditional changes that you would see in a TikTok cadence that we haven't seen since Skylake. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and go over what they released back in 2017 and what we know today based off of the press conference. Yep, go ahead.
Dino actually recommended. He said,
"Oh, that's right."
He said, and Antec did a great write-up on the December
I already
summit.
have that pulled up.
That would actually be be hugely beneficial,
Yeah,
I think,
we're gonna
because
talk about that.
I have not seen that, and I feel like that would give us possibly a lot of context as far as what we're talking
I lost
about.
the page I was on, actually. But I just wanted
Nathaniel said if John.
Go ahead, Devin.
Nathaniel said if Jonathan made a CPU, it'd have the best llama texture.
Yeah, I totally lost where I was.
I hate you, Nathaniel.
I don't even know where I am right now.
No one cares.
Not at
where
home.
you are.
I have
Okay,
Resident
anyway, I'm
Evil
gonna pull
where
up that
fucking zombies
OnTech
are
one
flying
because
through
I did have
fucking
that
windows
ready
at
to
me.
go. I'll give you guys a second because keep in mind, for those of you guys watching out there, they have a delay just like you guys have a delay, especially those of you on Facebook. You on Twitch, it's almost instant. So they gotta wait a second before they see it on the screen what I'm seeing on OBS. But this is what.
Or you could just send me the link in Skype so that I could.
Yeah,
Oh,
take
you know
that'd
what?
probably be the best thing.
That would be largely beneficial for me.
Well, Skype is all the way over here.
I completely understand the architecture, but I definitely need to review it without watching it scroll on a screen that's on a stream. It's going to
I was
give me
supposed to
motion
set up the
sickness.
NDI, but there's too many issues. Oh, Jordan's here. What up, my buddy? My buddy from the continent and country that doesn't exist. Sorry.
You almost said cunts.
I owe an apology to Dino, too. Australia exists, by the way, guys. It is a real place, and the Earth is not flat.
Barely.
No. They just pay they pay actors to say they're from Australia, and I believe Dino's one of them.
I have
Dino's
comment.
actually a king. Dino's actually a kangaroo in a human suit.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just. I love Dino.
Anyway.
Dino's a great guy.
Yeah, I mean, this is what they presented at the presentation, which it's pretty clear that this would be, what was that? It would be a talk if they stuck to that cadence, despite it being a tick as well.
But it also would have been. It also would have been a long time ago.
All at once. I mean, they clearly have spent a lot of years in development of this. This isn't your standard just die shrink. This isn't, you know, we're at Coffee Lake, which is basically Skylake. Devin, what are you doing?
I'm in Resident Evil and I'm really freaking confused. There's like a chain door. What the fuck do I do?
But you guys are gonna see. They say it's deeper, it's wider,
so glad you're in the
it's smarter.
Devin.
I'm a valuable part of it. Thank you.
Who invited Devin?
What do I have to talk about right now? Technically, I invited myself.
Do you know I do love Australians? I will visit your guys' country one day. Maybe next time I go to Taiwan.
Hey,
Australia. God damn, they only have kangaroos.
If you kill all the spiders that want to kill me, I will come to Australia. Otherwise, that ain't happening.
Spiders.
Hell
That
with
country is crazy. They're like fucking huge, like the wolf spiders. Holy shit.
I have a lot of friends, including people Dino probably knows, that always post the freaking spiders that are out there in Australia. That is creepy as hell.
See, do you guys have the non-tech article pulled up?
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, Intel was referring it to as deeper, wider, and I did have a real... Jesus. I should have known had I said that.
You led yourself into that one. We can't even blame Devin on that one.
Have your fun right now.
Someone clip it on Twitch.
I will. That's going to actually be a highlight of this one.
Yeah, what else is the freaking Australia is like the ants that will kill you. They have the spiders that will kill you.
The kangaroos. Did you guys see that video of that guy who was skydiving, and as he was landing, the kangaroo was like just running at him and just socked him right in the face. And he was so nonchalantly, he was like,
paragliding.
Fucking kangaroo. I didn't even sound.
The country is
Australian
crazy.
at all.
Dude, he hopped up, like beat the hell out of him and
wide.
took off, and I'm like,
that's you know what, people are gonna
God damn it.
remind me of that.
Holy shit!
Thank you, Dino. Thank you.
Do you know how much VRAM I'm using right now in Skype and in this game? 10.5 gigabytes.
And
I'm almost at my limit.
Oh no. Oh, I love it. Nat Wisher on Twitch goes kangaroo human.
I just want to give you guys an
example
of the 10 nanometer process from Intel comparatively to TSMC. So you get an idea. This is just a rough example comparing all the foundries, but we'll just ignore GlowFlow since they're kind of out of the microprocessor race when it comes to this sector.
Well, yeah. After AMD pulled, didn't they like drop their 7
and
everything?
They said they're
pretty much dropped.
Focus primarily on
refining
their
things
current
relevant to their customers.
Their current lineup.
I'm waiting for Qualcomm to take over the world.
Devin.
You keep waiting.
I know. It'd be a
I
long
wanted to
wait.
talk about the new gating and all this other stuff, but we'll get to that in a second. Oh, that was the page I was on before. Oh, what was I looking for? Well, I'll just go to the non-tech site very quick. But as you guys can see, a much larger micro-op cache. The vector units also, I think they expanded upon the vector units. I don't have a side-by-side of... Oh, right here. Okay, so we're going to pull up Skylake here, which is basically the architecture we know today as Coffee Lake and everything else.
Yeah, like last 3 generations.
But this is what they mean by deeper and wider.
It's been refinement.
The thing is, we don't know what the front end. I mean, that's going to play a huge role here. We know nothing about the branch predict. I mean, the entire pipeline, they haven't released any information about it. All we know is the core layout, what they added to it, and the back end, which is a lot of information.
That was my issue, was when you're asking when you were asking what we knew about it, the reason I was like not a lot is because there's too much there that can be massively either beneficial or a detriment to the overall final product. We don't have any information on it, so it's really difficult.
Will pull this one off. They're coming out swinging here.
I do as well. I mean, that goes without saying, but it's just one of those things where, I mean, the proof's always in the pudding. When it comes down to it, I've always seen great performance out of Intel chips, and I'm interested to see what they're going to. But minus net burst and minus anything related to the product that shall not be named, Larrabee, aka what became probably Knight's Landing. I think
so. It was Knight's Landing. They discontinued that, right? Entirely. I do believe they discontinued it.
I know Knight's Landing, I think, still exists as of recent. It had almost a 3647 style socket, or it might be 3647, and it was like 1 billion atom cores. It was crazy. But Dino did make a good point, and I got to give proper credence to this, of the fact that he says, I don't think enough people in tech really go into how well 14 nanometer process is optimized by Intel. It's taken for granted, I wonder. And I do agree that a lot of people have now seen it refreshed so many times that they just assume that Intel's like resting on their laurels and not actually improving, when in reality they are taking that manufacturing node and making it
it's
better and better with each spin.
Over and over again. That's actually what I was discussing earlier before you got here, Dino, was all the small refinements that you made, or that Intel made, the company as a whole, to the architecture on the 14 nanometer node.
Dino
good job, Dino.
Himself. It was all Dino.
All that stuff's going to carry over into the next architecture. So you guys not only were able to refine the architecture itself, but also work on refining the fab and the new architecture for the next generation architecture, which hopefully we see this year. Make that happen, Dino. I know you will. I don't know why I'm pointing to my monitor. And camera's right there.
I point at things too randomly.
Devin, thank you for contributing to this discussion.
I'm not going to make a comment right now.
So, when are we going to see 10 nanometer come out?
I think it's going to be this year, probably Q3, Q4, maybe sooner.
Is that Cannon Lake?
Cannon Lake, it's Icelake.
I think it's Icelake.
Yeah, Cannon Lake, they did...
what's Cannon?
I think there was a Cannon Lake, but it was like a mobile sock, right?
That's sad. That's kind of cool sounding. Cannon Lake sounds kind of neat. Like, I hate... The names used to be really cool, like Devil's Canyon. That used to be, like, crazy. You're like, wow, that's neat. And we got to, like, Coffee Lake. You're like, what?
Well, Devil's Canyon was actually a cool name. It was a cool chip. I really wish it was soldered, because that was the one thing I ended up dealing with.
Yeah, the rumor was that it would have been soldered, and that was, like, the biggest change, and people were really disappointed, myself included. Actually, this old Blackbird's running off a Devil's Canyon chip.
What's the moderator's or admin's name that he's the petroleum engineer of ours, and he like
Ryan.
What's his name again? I forgot.
He was on the very first podcast. We're no longer calling this a podcast, guys. This is actually Talking Tech. The podcast will be clipped down from this. But yeah, go ahead about Ryan.
I was gonna say, he said he could delid my 8700K and it'd be warranted too. Something was go wrong. I was like, I should probably look into that, because I can't push mine to 5 gigahertz because 100C isn't good for it. Yeah, I blue screen trying to push to 5 gigahertz because it got so freaking hot.
In all honesty, I've tested Coffee Lake chips that haven't been deleted, and they still run just fine unless you're trying to push like 6.3, 6.4 gigahertz like Cam. It's very popular. It's very cheap to do, but if you want the warranty,
it just runs. It runs a little. If you're overclocking, like seriously, every day, 24/7, 5 gigahertz, you can see a substantial drop, like on an AIO and something like that. But you don't necessarily need it. It will just make it overall. You'll hold your boost longer. It'll just be overall a cooler experience. But I mean, as we saw, when you pack more into that same manufacturing node, like 9900K, it does produce more heat. And even with solder, there's only you get to a point of diminishing returns.
I was really surprised at how many people were complaining about the factory temps, the stock temps from the 9900Ks, considering they were soldered. I didn't understand what the issue was. Well, mainly I suppose it would be people just don't understand the changes that needed to be made. And I know Der Bauer, Roman made that video
Obviously, the
lapping
non-issue
die
was an issue
itself
because I
and
said so.
This and that. But there's a reason that was
There's
done.
also because weren't people finding?
You
Well-
saw when Roman
Yes.
sanded down the diffusion layer on that one. And he
Greg,
gained
was
like
it?
two-
Yeah, and I
he
think
gained, like, 2 or
Allen
3
did it
C.
too and
It was
killed
like,
his
that was worth it.
9900K. And I'm just thinking, okay, now Roman
Greg,
hasn't.
was it?
What's wrong with our voices? We're deeper and wider.
I love being deeper and wider. Oh,
Greg, wasn't one of the big issues is that some people, when they delitted their 9900Ks with liquid metal, it was
I mean,
actually
it would
better than
be.
the solder that was on it?
why?
Because they're sanding down the diffusion layer, dude. So they're taking away the part that's on top of the die that protects it. The problem is when you sand that down and then put liquid metal on it, there's a chance that can seep down into the substrate or not the substrate into the actual precious metals of the
there's
die
like
and
there's
just
3
destroy
layers.
the chip over time.
That sounds
of-
horrific.
There's 3 layers in the diffusion layer. And Roman did get lucky. I don't know if he had inside info from one of the engineers to know exactly how much
I think he
material to take off.
I think he went through. I think he worked on a few chips and probably. I'm sure you nuke a few doing something like that. You're not going to do it first pop. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Roman's a really good dude. It's very possible he could
Yeah,
have.
Dino, he
could
probably
have pulled that
would.
off. I think the solder Tim. I think the solder Tim works great. The problem is you have a chip that turbos to 5 gigahertz and requires a decent amount of amperage and voltage to get it there. And when you have such a small package, your thermal wattage per square millimeter is quite high. That's just when you're packing it in that small of a chip. You take that same die and put it on a massive die like you have on, like, let's say, a 7900X, it's going to dissipate a lot more heat a lot more effectively.
I mean, it's
in my
worked
opinion.
wonders for Skylake X. Well, Skylake X Plus, I guess I'm going to call it. I just like saying
Skylake
plus
X
at this
Gen
point.
2.
Vince's 9980XE is just absolutely insane, and it's not delited. It just runs the stem. He did lap the IHS, but comparatively to my 7980XE and all the ones that I've seen, all the ones that I've tested, that stem really does hold up well, especially for overclock like exo sears. I mean, it just translates so well compared to paste.
Imagine worrying about paste cracking on the die IHS contact and on the pot to IHS.
You don't have to anymore.
That would suck.
It's a beautiful thing.
But imagine that. Imagine your paste cracks and now you got to heat it up.
I do it all the
back,
time.
And then put it back under cold.
It sucks.
Ooh,
That's
I have a quick
ridiculous.
question. What do you guys think of the Asus Maximus 10 in terms
Maximus
of
10
like power
what?
delivery quality?
Yeah, there's
Maximus 10 what?
the
There's like multiple
Hero.
Maximus
Hero.
10.
I'm sorry.
Are you talking Z270 or
370 because he's
Z390?
talking
Yeah,
about the
the
10.
370.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
11.
that's why I was making sure because that's an older one. That's not the new one.
I meant the quality because I can upgrade to a 9900K on it. So I was like, does it even have the quality
If
to
you're gonna
truly
go with
handle that properly?
9900K, I would still say go with Z390. I'm pretty sure most motherboard manufacturers
I already
didn't
have
see the
a Z370,
9900K coming.
and it's at least
I know,
a higher end.
personally, I didn't, because I thought they were pretty much done with Coffee Lake, with the 70. What's it called now? 8700K. I'm sorry. And they did everything they could with the transistors and the actual lithography that they could. They widened the gate pitch and everything else that they could possibly do on the 14 nanometer process. The only thing they could possibly do is make the die larger to add 2 more cores.
Well, your question, did you say, Dustin, did you say it was the Hero?
Dustin.
He did say Hero, yeah.
That's an offense to Dustin right there.
Yeah, he said Hero. Okay. I was making sure I was thinking of the right board. Because that's still a very solid board. As far as running 9900K, if you're planning to overclock it, I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend it, but...
Didn't Ryan Johnson
Well,
do
what
that?
if it was a modest overclock? What does it boost to on all cores at once? Like
5
4.7?
gigahertz.
I can do 5 on all 8 cores at once?
No, I'm sorry. I thought you said single core.
Oh, Dino,
no,
I
I've
think it
done
does 4.7
2-way.
on all cores.
I've done 3-way with the
It's
980
pretty reasonable.
Ti's, but
I mean,
never
can I push it to
4-way.
5
No,
on
thank
all
you.
cores? Is that a possibility and not overly strain the board? Or is that pushing it?
Oh,
Oh, it's possible you could do it and it wouldn't be an issue. It would be
I don't
heavier
care
on
what
the
anybody
DRMs.
says. I'm going to advertise for Vince.
So I could still maybe get a stock
Best
one,
thermal
potentially.
paste
Still be a
ever.
boost over my 8700 core.
Go buy some right now.
I love that. I love that Dino brings that up.
I'm still gonna
because
get some, Greg.
I've used the KPX paste, and it's
Dude,
probably the least cracking.
Yeah, I mean, it still cracks.
works
I mean,
decent.
especially on like Dino said, with GPUs going full pot.
I was gonna say, GPUs
Well, especially, I mean,
crack way more
the
often.
HCC
GPUs
chips from Intel, they all have the fiber, the fully integrated voltage regulator. So I mean, they do cold bug around minus 100 C or so. So you generally don't get that drop down, that rapid drop down to crack the paste often. But yeah, I mean, between that and there's G-Lit Extreme, that's pretty good. And Thermal Grizzlies.
Sebastian wants to see a close-up of the
You want to see?
paste.
I
close-up
haven't
of
used
the
Gillet
paste?
Extreme actually. I have not used that.
Oh, thanks, Brad.
Oh
Yeah.
God, Brad, damn it.
Anyway,
Oh, this is great.
back to.
Deeper and wider on the front end.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
They didn't actually show the
We're
front
going-
end. They're talking about it being deeper and wider on the back end.
that's
We're going
not
Carl's
better.
on this.
Damn it, Greg,
Dino,
that's
did you
not
guys do
better.
this on purpose? Honest question.
Yeah, I feel like this was intentional.
I think it's just human nature.
Like literally on the top of this slide, you could have like a little dick butt just hidden in the background, and people would just catch that.
What, like in Linus's videos?
Oh God.
The dick butt everywhere.
Poor Dino.
Yo, I feel
he-
like I'm watching a Disney movie.
Share,
I
I'll
don't
pick
think
you up
Dino
some wine
understood what he
right
was
after
getting
this
into
stream,
when
I
he did
promise.
this.
But
Dino said that they found that Jalid to be the best, honestly, but Roman and Vince paces are just as great.
everyone has like their favorite
I haven't
paste.
used
I
Go-
argue with people all the time. I like G-Lit.
Well-
One time.
Like, isn't that one of those things that if you
Pressure your blood
to
for
really
punishment.
find out which is best, you'd have to do like thousands
Technically,
and thousands
yes.
of testing?
You,
and
you
all
would have
cases,
to.
chemicals?
It's not worth the time.
Yeah, it's impossible to
test
really say which one's the best because I've gone a long time
So it's more preference
without
at this
cracking
point.
on GPUs at full pot with multiple pastes. But I've never tried G-Lid on GPUs yet.
I just-
So when the 2080 Ti Kingpins get here, I will definitely try G-Lid.
I used mostly the Magic Blue paste when Vince sent
We
me
call
some,
it the
and then
Smurf
I've used
Jizz.
some Cryonaut. The Smurf
Yeah.
Jizz?
It's
What?
pretty well known.
Yeah.
But anyway, God, this conversation went so.
Talking about your
yeah, we're
back
gonna be
end.
talking about the back end that's deeper and wider.
Oh, Devin, that's or Dustin.
Yeah,
that's
why
your-
why
that's
is the
your
back
go.
end
That's your go.
deeper
Hi.
and wider, Devin? Oh, I know
They
they
all
all
crack.
do
Call me
crack.
Dustin.
By the way,
I'm gonna
guys,
freak out.
Just to clarify, it's not that any of those pastes are.
I am not Dustin. I do not get near
Crack-proof.
schools and
Now-
instantly get the authorities called on me.
Dino said something. He said they all crack. Roman's paste was the worst for high core chips, in my opinion. Then Vince and then Gillid, or G-Lid, however the hell you say it. We could recover and keep benching.
You can
Now I
recover
want to
pretty
know
quick with
because
KPX
one thing
as
I
well.
noticed was with KPX, what temperature did you have to get to before you could pretty much thin it all back out and start benching again?
I usually have to go plus.
Yeah, okay. That's one of my problems. I was wondering if Gillid was better than that, or Gillid, or however the hell you say it, because I noticed with KPX paste you had to go positive temperatures to get it to actually flow back out. Whereas back in the day, before like we had Vince's paste and all that, OCZ freeze was actually half-ass decent, and you could actually get that to recover when it had a problem, like at -20.
That would be nice for especially
And that's
for
where
GPUs.
I'm interested to see. But that's where I would like to know what Dino, because Dino says that we just go -20. There you go. See,
Damn.
so Gillid is just like OCZ freeze used to be, because OCZ freeze I had the same thing. Dino,
But
put,
you know
we just
what?
go
The
-20. So that's
last
perfect.
time I was running 3D was with the 1080 Ti Kingpins, and that I haven't ran 3D since. When did I take the two-way record?
Yes, exactly.
Was
Positive tip.
it last June?
Positive tip.
Oh, I know.
Dangerous.
Well, the
I've
socket
done that.
heaters do help.
Yeah,
That they have you ever
I will tell you
ran
right now,
ran it with with a socket heater though?
Nope.
Oh,
no, I'm
GPU,
talking
yeah,
about GPU.
that's the bitch.
Because with GPU, when I
That's
was
pretty much
benching GPU, I actually took and I put a fan header on my card so I could put a jumper and disconnect a
You're
mod
right, you know.
if I had to warm the card back up.
Yeah, it's pretty much game over if it cracks
I
on
literally
the
did that
GPU.
so I could.
with KPX. But I mean that KPX where it did crack, where I did have to warm it up to plus positive temperatures, compared to the new KPX, the most recent 2 batches. One of these is empty. I got this from Vince. It was actually a really early sample, and that's when I cracked. I can't really show you guys, but it was like it was really, really thick and really, really hard. Yeah, I mean the initial one. I think it was like the first batch. So that might have been an issue. I haven't done GPU with it since. So we'll see. This one's like just like butter. So maybe I can bring it back from a crack at lower temperatures. We'll see.
How did we go
I
from
don't
10
know.
nanometer to talking with
It's
Dino about
here,
0-2 benching?
Dino's the shit.
Yo,
Heaters are
next
bad
we're
for
gonna end up on
high-frequency.
flat Earth.
Yeah.
You're not even gonna know how
We
we got
started
there.
with flat Earth as soon as we saw Dino and Jordan in here. But Jordan left. He probably got offended.
See, Dino makes a point that I think the same thing. Maybe I don't have any factual data. Dino probably does. He said heaters are bad for high frequency chips, to be honest. VRM is warm enough to keep things warm without too much moisture.
That is true.
So I haven't used a socket heater. And I was wondering about that, how that would actually
Honestly,
negatively
he's
affect
right.
things.
I've
being the
noticed
fact-
that too. I've had issues using a socket heater, especially with my 7980XE, even on the X299 Dark. So I'm an idiot. But I use a secondary 1600 watt power supply just for the socket heater. So I could turn it on and turn it off intermittently. I don't just keep it running. So take care,
Yeah,
Dino.
that's not good
I
for
mean,
it to
it is,
keep
I mean,
running all
it's
the
okay
time, you know?
for like
Take care,
mainstream
Dino,
chips
man.
that they don't. I mean, their VRM setups are for the most part overkill, especially when you look at some of the new Z390 boards, and you could go full pot with them. But with these high core count chips, it's not the best idea to use a socket heater 100% of the time, because it's warming up your RAM slots, your socket, your VRMs. I mean, that whole section is getting hot. So yeah, you don't just keep that thing running. But back to, we're supposed to have an episode about XOC at some point.
Before we segue from
Yes.
that, I got to ask you one important question, Greg, because I want to see if you do. Anytime I bench on a motherboard and everything off, in order to keep from getting condensation, in order to keep reduce the amount of components that could potentially frost over.
Yeah.
Do you do the same, or do you leave the board as it is and just let it frost?
I've done it both ways. I actually do. I do take it off for the most part. With this particular board is not the one that I've used under LN2, so it still has, you know, the heat sinks and everything. It's a brand new board. I don't even know where that. I think that's it.
Because most of the time, the actual the actual cold creep through the PCB itself, through the layers, through the traces, it will actually keep the VRM even under heavier loads, like longer benches. I found it will keep it cold enough. You don't necessarily have to
you're
worry
absolutely
about
right.
So you don't
So when
need
you
the
keep a heatsink on, it actually can potentially make your VRMs run hotter.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
because you're just
insulating
basically
the
it's like a
heat.
heat. It's like a
It's
heat
a heat
sink. It's like a
insulator.
trap.
Guys, you know what I added? Okay. Anyway, segueing. Icelake
Damn it.
Aw.
is very interesting. Let's. It
I
will
think,
be.
I think it's gonna.
Hey,
be.
I guarantee you it will be. But when is it going to be released and for how much?
And will it actually be anything remotely close to an ice lake in temperatures?
Oh God, really? I give up. I can't even.
He's comic relief today, guys. Thanks for coming on, Devin. I do want to find something because it's a pretty
course.
Detailed drawing.
The
Yeah, the
problem
front
is there's
end.
a lot missing from the data
front
we
end,
have
that's
thus
what's
far.
missing. And that's probably the largest component.
Like,
Well, I
Like
mean, no, there's a
everything,
lot to
basically?
take away from, seeing the core changes. And I'll pull those up here because there's a better drawing than Intel's.
that's just fucking creepy. What's going on in Twitch chat? Like that dude just tiled together 4 emotes to make a face, and that's just creepy as hell because it's staring
Yeah.
into my soul.
That's
Oh,
Sebastian.
great.
He's the one of the mods.
He is indeed creepy.
You're creepy,
one-
Sebastian. You're
no one-
creepy.
No one's denying that. He
But
won't
no.
even deny it.
Greg, I think there's a lot we can take from it. The problem is, until we're closer and we start to actually see, I hate to say it, but some of the leaks on actual performance, I'm hesitant to make any statements on it.
Oh, me
because
neither.
they
That's why
haven't
I'm
even
not
shown,
saying like
at
I'm not
least I
saying
haven't seen
anything
a
in
public.
relation to how it'll perform comparatively. But as far as like the improvements that they made to the architecture, let me find what I'm trying to look for, and then I'll tell you where I'm trying to get at. I have like 20 tabs open. When and how did that
wait.
happen?
So what's up with? So did we just skip over Icelake?
No, we're talking about
Wait.
Icelake and 10 nanometer. I mean, we don't have much to go off of.
Well, no, because this is Sunny Cove.
Well, Sunny, I explained this. Were you here?
Oh, one's okay,
Sunny
okay,
Cove
one's
is the core.
chip and one's the actual die.
Yeah. This is the actual
okay.
core. This is the first time they're doing this. Intel usually just named the architecture.
Okay, I'm back on page. I got it.
Where are you at, Devin?
Sorry, 1 second. Building falling on top of me.
Devin's still playing RE2.
No.
Oh.
Actually, now I'm playing Red Faction.
Someone said that RE2 takes up 13 gigabytes of VRAM on their Radeon 7.
I think it dynamically uses memory as it sees it available.
Bring that all up. Okay, we were talking about something about memory.
Oh, when you were talking about using up 10.5 gigabytes of VRAM.
Yeah,
Someone's saying,
I don't know what was causing that.
My buddy,
Game.
who's one of the engineers at Intel or at AMD, he said to tell you guys hi, because I'm actually chatting with him while I'm talking to you guys.
Oh, tell him we say hi
tell him to
back.
sub to me.
To the nameless.
Tell him to send me something
Buddy.
cool from Nambi.
This is like I hate all these people. Shannon calling Shroud creepy feels bad.
What?
I mean,
Meh. I have no soul. I don't care. I'm heartless.
You're not heartless. Jesus, I keep reading
Yes, I am.
deeper and wider everywhere I'm looking.
I know. That's why I stopped looking at that page, because every
Well,
time
it's not
I did
even
it,
just
I
that
realized I was
page.
making. I realized I was making stupid faces
Okay,
as
I
I was
found
laughing.
what
and
I'm
like, I
looking
gotta stop
for.
looking.
This is a pretty good.
I need to move the page over here so I'm not like laughing at the camera.
Oh, I can't. Green screen. See, my hand disappears. I wish I could use this as kind of like a. What do you call it? Oh, you know what? I could probably. Nah, I'm not even gonna bother with that. I can't use my cursor because that's still disabled. But here on the top.
I thought we discussed that.
Yeah, but I keep forgetting.
Hey, I don't hate these people. Christopher
Oh, what?
Franco.
What people?
Oh,
Chris
you can hate
Franco.
Devin.
Chris
Everyone
Franco.
does.
He's from AMD.
Why
Hey,
would you?
don't worry, Chris. Everyone hates Devin.
We
so
were
I mean,
actually talking up AMD quite a bit before you got here,
I told him that. That's who I was talking to. Who said to tell you guys hi.
and we
Yeah.
said hi back.
Hey.
Did you relay the message?
Yeah, I told him.
I'm
I
just
told him
messing
you were
with
saying
you,
hi,
Sharon.
and he's like, "Oh,
Just messing with you. But
Greg."
here's the little information that they did release. Sans the front end. So we have deeper, wider on the back end.
I'm sorry.
Deeper and wider
Yeah,
on the
slow down
back
there.
end. That's
Deeper,
what we're getting from
wider,
it.
pause, back end.
When are we going to see deeper and wider from AMD? Because Intel's talking all about their deeper and wider back end. We got to know what the deeper, wider AMD is going to be.
Yeah, that's how you win the game.
Okay, I mean,
How
We
deep
We
and
got to
wide
go
you
even
make it.
deeper and wider.
This is why I always lose the game.
Greg just can't.
I can't. See, the thing is, like, even not just like the front end missing. I mean, we obviously aren't getting those details for a while. As far as the new physical registers, how many could they handle? Like AVX, like the best vector registry file, how many registers could that handle? I don't believe that they released any of that information. But what they did release is the integer and vector units themselves, the additions and changes that they made. So over here we have, this is Skylake. Skylake's backend, which is small and narrow. It's a very small and narrow back end.
We like them. We like them thick chips, man. What can I say?
Well, I mean, no, it's not. Okay, so Intel brings you
I'm sorry.
the wider and longer front back to your back end architecture with Sun and Cove.
And shut the fuck up.
God, I swear to God, I wish Dino were here right now. That would have been so much fun.
Oh goodness.
Having a representative from AMD and Intel. I wish I could pull the two of these together. But as you can see here, yeah, it doesn't really show any of that information. Plus, they didn't actually release these drawings.
That's the thing. See, there's a lot we can extrapolate from it.
There is.
But there's so much that can change. There's so much, and we've seen it before, where you can have an architecture that looks really badass, then it can change and get even better over time.
Oh yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
what we've seen with it's like what we've seen with Zen2. What we were talking about with Zen2. Who knows? I mean, we saw that performance out of there. Is it going to be better or worse when it releases? I assume it's only going to improve, just like 10 nanometer is going to improve potentially.
Well, the IPC is most definitely going to improve. I mean, the front end obviously has to be. There's going to be changes made to accommodate the changes within the back end.
It's changeception.
But they did add. I believe they added an extra store unit. Yeah, this is. I don't believe. Yeah, another secondary store unit, and I do believe they did that to improve their hyper-threading. What else did they add? I can't put these two together. Okay, and I don't think you guys...
What do you mean? Oh, the two images?
Yeah, because the second one I showed was Sun and Cove.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see it's wider. The load store section is much wider.
I'm looking because it's kind of fuzzy.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I wish I could put these two together.
Store, I could see that. I was at first looking up at the scheduler and I was following it down through the EUs trying to see exactly where you were.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
Because your mouse pointer is missing. Ah.
Yeah, I got to remember that for the next stream. But you can see, I mean, the vector, okay. For those of you guys who don't know, the vector units are basically for AVX instructions, which is what AVX stands for.
Yeah. Well,
Advanced Vector Execution,
sure
I believe.
You're explaining it to the people watching, I imagine,
yes, and
right?
Devin, who's playing with, I don't know what he's doing. He's playing with something. His front end, maybe, which are missing. So, Devin, if you have any inside info.
Yeah, like I have inside info. I don't even have outside info.
That's because you don't listen and you don't care to learn.
I do care to learn, but you're going really into like particulars and specifics that I don't have the background
theoretical.
knowledge for. So it just.
Yeah, this is a lot of this. We're speaking off of what we could extrapolate based on data provided.
With
we don't even
fuzzy
have 100%
images,
of the
too.
data, so yeah, we're working off of some guesswork.
When you start talking about like pitch gates and stuff like that, these are terms
I
I've
didn't
seen
even get a
before, but I don't
chance
actually
to.
grasp what they are.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about like the gate technology. We didn't talk about any of that stuff. We didn't talk about any of the stats.
I can learn what they do, but I don't know because I never like looked into it.
Jeffrey's here.
Hey,
Oh
Jeff.
God, Jefferson. Oh shit.
They did. I do know that
Hi,
Intel
Devin.
did say that they were gonna. They're gonna have a larger L2 cache. Obviously, they didn't say how much larger, but that depends on if they're even gonna do that anymore. I don't know. 10 nanometer is Intel's 10 nanometer is pretty damn dense. So hopefully they go.
That's the thing.
They get rid of that triple monolithic die setup. It's 3D. What are you laughing at now? Who's laughing?
Oh, no, that's me. I'm
Oh.
sorry. I'm just thinking about all the changes they could make or all the changes they might not make and what it could mean for it's comical in the fact that this could end up being something really awesome or
Something really bad.
or it could be NetFirst 2.0.
God, I hope, because earlier you said that this could very well be the clock race war, and the first thing that came to my mind was NetBurst. I don't see that happening though, because this is very much changes within the architecture, not so much. It has really nothing to do with frequency. How it'll scale with frequency, I mean, the 10 nanometer, that depends on the 10 nanometer process.
with how long it's taken, I can tell you,
it better.
It damn well better be well refined.
I mean, I'm sure the architecture will be, but yeah, I don't know about the node. We'll see.
Well, with all the big changes they're making and all the people they're adding,
this is the largest architectural change I've seen probably since Conroe.
Are you talking about Intel and how they're acquiring everybody right now?
Well, no, it's not just that. Okay, Intel is bringing on a lot of reviewers, a lot of enthusiasts, influencers, whatever you want to call them, and I think they're doing that because they also know how to speak the language the way we do versus the very corporate speak they've had over the past 6 to 8 years. And I think that's because they're planning something really big for this, or at least I'm hopeful. And we're going to have one hell of a war as far as performance between the two teams.
I'm actually really excited.
And I'm really hopeful. I want to see that. I want to see.
Are you saying that you believe
it's a 486?
You believe that AMD is truly going to be that competitive?
They already are.
Zen 2.
Oh, I guarantee with Zen 2 they're going to be extremely competitive.
Zen 2's not out
yet.
yet,
You weren't here for the Zen talk. It was really relaxing without you here.
Of course, it was.
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked with you and Zen.
Jeffrey, there was no race for one.
Center.
There really wasn't a race to 1 gigahertz. There was more a race to 3 gigahertz.
No, there was a race to 1 gigahertz. AMD did win that.
Was
it wasn't like really a race though. It was just we were the ones wondering when are they going to hit 1 gigahertz.
Hey, Gregory, and I think you understand what I'm saying. The race to 1 gigahertz was very short-termed. What it had was, I think the big race was everyone shooting for 4 gigahertz. If you remember back in the P4 days, where they had controllable heat as they were pushing and pushing to try to get to 3.8, 4 gigahertz and whatnot.
Quite a few.
That is where I think the real race was back in the day, and I want to see that again, where like literally they're stomping each other every time a new chip release comes out.
But you see it at those times. Go ahead.
Quick little synopsis of Zen 2. Is it going to be quick?
Like we were talking about, Greg, Athlon FX.
Yeah.
I want to see that level of competition come out of AMD again, because that is what's going to force this to where they're going to be bashing each other's heads every 5 minutes, and we're going to benefit from it.
You brought up earlier. Go ahead, Devin.
No, I mean, back then there was a lot more gains to be made. I remember that was back when processors were making like massive gains. Like one generation would be like 40, 50% faster. You're like, whoa. But if we're a lot closer to the wall, like the wall of what we can do now, like, are we going to see the same level of gains, even if there's a lot of pressure?
I think at this point, Not as noticeable at this point, but yes, we will see considerably higher gains. Go ahead, Shannon.
Okay, the thing is that everyone quotes Moore's law. What they don't realize is that there is there's also the Amherst law, if I remember correctly. I'm trying to remember which one it is.
I wasn't referring just to Moore's. It seems like we've been slowing down a lot. Is that just simply for the lack of competition, or is it just like, are they having issues with what they're with right now?
I do believe personally that, I'm having the same issues I had last time now with Llama.
Sorry.
No, but I do personally think that Intel did become complacent for a long time.
Yeah, they rested on their laurels. They didn't have a true competitor. They had no reason to push something higher out, because once we got past like the Athlon FX, once we got past like K6, if you remember that, Greg.
Yeah, once Conroe came out, it was just their answer was bulldozer, and that was the wrong answer.
Bulldozer, pile driver, because originally Intel stepped on their dick with netburst.
Yeah.
So AMD just jumped into their game, and they were
at half the frequency.
Llama's like, I just saw you adjusting Llama. That creeped me out.
It happens on its own. I don't get it.
Well, no, that was actually me. I did.
You did what?
Our background.
No. I don't know if that's
stop doing that.
But go ahead. You were talking about K6.
Blurred background breaks it. When we had that burst, they stepped on their dick, and the next thing you know, K6 came. It was awesome. We had Athlon FX. It started collapsing upon itself. Like they were collapsing under their own weight.
That's true.
And then now they're coming back. They're having a resurgence. Meanwhile, Intel's like, why are we going to break our backs, spend a metric ass ton of R&D and engineering money to create even higher and higher and higher level chips when we're already beating them by leaps and bounds? And that complacency is what's hurt them now, because AMD is like, yeah, how about this? F you, and just, jab the Ryzen, jab the Zen architecture right up their ass. And basically now Intel's recovering from it, and they still have very powerful chips. They're still the most viable platform for most applications. But that gap is closing very rapidly.
Well, particularly in the mainstream. On the HCC
Well, yeah,
side,
mainstream.
it's either one's game, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the thing. On like enterprise, on like massive scaled processes, things like that. They both can be adopted. The problem is Intel had such a long market lead, like we said before.
It's already been adopted.
It's now hard for them to gain that traction.
Exactly. It's going to be a hard sell to try to get any of these large data centers to upgrade their entire infrastructure to switch over to a different manufacturer of CPUs. But in the mainstream, Intel has always had that leg up, not just because of the IPC and everything, and the ring bus. It's held the lead for so long.
It was always lower power, higher performance, better efficiency.
The power, the efficiency was there, but they lost that efficiency now.
Well, yeah, I mean that's why everyone went with Intel.
And and the thing is, now it's hard because now they're trying to gain back that trust from these data center guys. And the thing is, like we were talking about earlier, look at that single EPIC chip that's supposedly single EPIC chip that destroyed dual 8180s, which is the top single Xeon for Intel, and there was 2 of them, and they blew it away with 1 chip supposedly. If that truly happens, that is going to flip the game. I think that is the type of thing that's going to jab people into starting to adopt them in a massive scale. But also, you got to remember, these data center guys, they look at longevity. So last thing they want to do is buy into an AMD chip that's only going to be a one-hit wonder, then the next one's going to suck, and they're not going to have a continuing platform. They've got to see the proof that it's going to keep going and keep getting better.
Yeah. I mean, there's another thing about that. I mean, that example that they showed on the benchmark that we know nothing about.
Yeah.
I mean, when you take the scalability, of 2 28-core CPUs running together, and then compare it to, the new Zen architecture, or Zen2, I'm sorry, and a 64-core EPIC CPU. The EPIC CPU should technically win, but, without the disclosed clocks or any of that information, it is hard to say, not knowing any of the variables of that test. But like you also said earlier, they generally do show those types of demos to favor their architecture.
Best case scenario.
That's best case scenario. But did they ever talk about the scalability of those? Like, does it go beyond 2S? Does it go to 4S?
That's the thing. We don't know. Does it go quad socket? Does it go? We don't know what those platforms, like as far as the new ones, are going to be. And the thing is, you got to remember, with that specific application they were talking about, that could have been single socket because the massive amount of power it could potentially pull.
That's
especially
what they were
if it was
saying.
like a 64 thread. And if that's the case, think about the thermal density you're building into, let's say someone wants to build a 1U with these chips with 2 procs. Think about the thermal density in there. That's going to be a nightmare. And that's something I think that we're going to find out as these chips start to actually come to fruition, as we start to see them in play. Maybe I'm completely off
maybe
base.
7 nanometer
Maybe
is that efficient. We still don't know because we haven't seen any product with it yet.
I know you have, and we both have. Like when 32 nanometer switched over, I think it was 32 nanometer, when the die shrink actually caused more thermals.
Yeah. And
it actually caused it to get hot.
Yeah, and that was also when things used to be soldered.
But the thing is, with that was also because the die shrunk, but the amount of transistors was much higher, which meant your thermal density as far as watts per square millimeter was actually higher because it was a smaller die. And so that's the other headache you got to run into, is when you make these really tiny dies, your watts per square millimeter on dissipation can be horrible.
Oh, absolutely. And I think Intel learned their lesson from that too, which is probably a good idea for them to refine this 10 nanometer process, which is something that AMD has never had to worry about. I mean, Intel has so many advantages. Hopefully they do take advantage of the fact that they have 100% control, not just of their core architecture, but also of their fab. So let's hope they don't screw this one up.
Oh wow, have we been live? Have we been live for 2 hours already? It's like 12:30.
Sure
I didn't even realize that.
Oh my god, it is. Yeah, let's wrap this up. But I just want to point one. It's not even worth it. There's quite a few changes.
I was going to bring up something interesting.
Were you?
Go ahead.
imagine this. It's a weird flip side. You maybe say that like AMD coming out with new stuff and like bringing about competition is going to bring a bunch of new products. But in a way, it's kind of a bad thing for consumers. In a way, like think of it on this weird flip side.
Yeah, I would like to.
Now, because it's going to make it so upgrades are going to. So take like game developers and people who take advantage of hardware. If hardware starts advancing really quickly, they can take advantage of more hardware, but it's going to make it so your current hardware is going to be obsoleted faster, so you're going to have to upgrade more often. Before, when Intel was just control of everything, you got a quad-core i7 for the mainstream, and you were set for years, and like barely incremental changes. So in a way, it might, it's neat to have new products, but technically you might have to upgrade more often.
I don't think that's going to be the case. I think you're going to get a massive jump, and then the need for upgrade is going to be the same thing. You're going to have... you never need to necessarily upgrade until you really get way behind. Like I'm seeing right now, anywhere from 2600K, 2700K, whatever you want to call it, to 3770K. That right now, you're reaching the point with those chips where it's time to upgrade because you're starting to bottleneck stuff. I have a 4770K, and I'm sure in Devil's Canyon 4790K. Like
right back there.
Greg was saying, he was running. And they still run perfectly fine.
Yeah, they're
But
perfectly
37
capable CPUs
I've
today.
seen some games for quad
See,
core
that's the
i7s,
thing. That's
and
up
some
to
games are starting to hit their
developers
limitations.
to actually
that's
code to make use of so many threads, which not many are, but they do exist.
That's a very niche use case, and that does happen. But at the end of the day, that's where if you have that specific niche, then yeah, you move up to a new chip. And you could move up to like a 9900K right now and probably be fine for several years because that turbo's up to 5 gigahertz and you'd be happy you'd be good to go. But as far as, I don't think you're losing anything as far as the term of upgradability and your arguments there. It's more, I think this is going to come down to, you're going to get a massive leap forward. You're going to get some new features. You're going to get an overall more efficient core architecture. And then we're probably...
Because they did mention I'll send you the link to this, Shannon, because this covers the entire thing, the entire event, the Intel event that Dino was talking about. I know he said the non-tech event, but this is very, very thorough. I think it's like 7 pages long about everything that they've discussed. But yeah, I mean, the architecture looks promising. The 10 nanometer is still, I mean, as far as the fabrication and yields, that's anybody's guess. Intel is the only one that knows. But they have released that one Cannon, did I just say Cannon Lake? Was it Cannon Lake? Yeah, they did release that one Cannon Lake, so we know it's a real thing.
Actually, someone just asked a really interesting question, and it's something I'm not 100% sure. CAF PCs said, are there any Thunderbolt 3 AM4 motherboards? And no, I don't think there are.
That's an Intel
it's an Intel
thing. Yeah, sorry.
It is an Intel thing, but they do sell the chipset. They license the chipset. The problem is there is a royalty for it. And as far as I know, I don't think there's any that have been integrated at this time. I think there was X399 boards that had it, but none that had it available, like as an add-in, like as an AIC. But I don't think there's any that actually had it. Like
I don't think I've ever
What's
heard
that
of an AMD chipset.
So from
Thunderbolt.
what I remember, they're supposed to be going to the Thunderbolt 3 being what's the best? Yeah, I think open source to where anyone can use it. And I don't know if that ever happened. Intel was supposed to be like giving out for everyone to use. And AMD was supposed to be adopting it at some point.
Well, they were talking about removing the royalty in 2018 for Thunderbolt 3.
Yeah.
That's 2019, guys.
And I guess they never did.
And I've seen people actually use it. I've seen it working. As a matter of fact, I just found what I was looking for. There was a guy with an X399 Threadripper, X399 Tai Chi, I think it was, that he was able to put Thunderbolt and get it working. I'm going to drop it to you, Greg, just so we can show it. If you want to show it, if it seems relevant, if it doesn't.
I mean, it's relevant to the conversation right now.
So you could drop it in there because I can't post it in Twitch because if I post something, it like tries to ban me or some shit.
Really?
It let me post right through.
I think you might be a mod, and I'm not.
No one's a mod.
No, I posted my YouTube link and it just went straight through.
Let's see. Oh, it worked. Okay, that's fine.
I think Greg fixed it earlier.
No, I didn't pull it up yet.
It's how it reads links. It's how it reads links. It's really weird. But yeah, that's what I was. That's what I was.
Do you
thinking
still want me
was
to
that,
pull it up, Shannon? Despite the fact that the link worked.
You don't have to. I put it through to people. That's just showing because he had asked. He's like, hey, is there any? Now I haven't known of any X470 boards. I've seen it work. That might work, but I just don't.
At the same time, there really isn't a market for that either.
That's the thing. Thunderbolt is still not. I mean, it's been 3 generations. only people I've seen use it are like creative people, and most of those are on Macs.
Yeah, it almost felt for a while it was gonna be like a Apple proprietary licensing.
Oh, like FireWire.
Yeah, FireWire.
FireWire?
Yeah,
Like Halo.
like Halo.
Okay.
Halo.
I straight up, when I was looking at that card, the Gigabyte Titan Ridge, I legit thought those were FireWire
Oh,
ports
John's
at
here.
first
What's
when I saw
up?
the mini display.
And Jacob Schilling. Yeah, we've been on for
Dude,
a while,
Jacob's
guys.
here? Ugh.
Yeah, yeah, we've been on for a little over 2 hours. The one thing we didn't really get a chance to talk about because we kept talking about deeper, wider
Then,
on the back end.
Oh,
Never sounded right.
Yeah.
Um,
So what
Greg,
is it?
we're never let you
was a
live that
three-
down.
What was
the
it?
3D stacking.
Okay, so let's go over. Okay, let's do a brief high level.
Go for it.
Because if we let Devin go over deeper,
Yes,
wider,
please.
it's just gonna go
No
bad.
more deeper,
Oh,
wider
wait,
back
please.
ends.
Lead the way, Greg. I'm good with you on this one.
Someone said something on Twitch. I didn't know if y'all wanted to
What's up?
look at that real fast. Anon4273 said, do not forget that consoles they also have to play a relevant role for game
Role for
development
game
because
development.
console games run halfway acceptable at least.
Yeah, that's the thing. Most games for PC are console ports. There's very few that are direct PC or they have separate development. But a console, they build it off of that because that's the mass of the market. As much as I'd love to say PC gamers rule everything,
They don't.
I mean, we're PC enthusiasts. It's really we don't rule the roost. The console plebs do. It's just what it is.
Yeah, now pretty much all consoles run off the same instruction sets that your PC runs off of. So
they're AMD APUs,
yeah,
man. They're
they
literally
run
running
off
like they're literally running
x86,
down like
64 with
a cut down Linux version. In most
essentially,
cases.
except for
Yeah.
Microsoft.
yeah, like
The
hey,
Xbox.
like when people complain of microtransactions, where did those come from? An even bigger gaming market, mobile. They did really
It
well.
came
on the
from
mobile
World
market
of
and started moving
Warcraft's
into-
business model, essentially. They
They're like,
realized
hey,
people will pay
Why
to play,
sell a
For
game
students.
once when you can sell it once every month?
and then you can
Constantly.
just sell stuff in the
Rockstar
game in
does that
real
too.
life, which is just absolutely insane.
Exactly.
I still don't understand it.
Rockstar's model's great too with GTA
What
5.
is?
All the like you can grind to get stuff, or you can just pay real money, and they make so much money off of that still, even to this day.
I mean, dude, I know people that still have WoW accounts and they've had them for like 10 years, dude. It's
Chris,
you know what? That's great. If you enjoy that, if that keeps you from going and shooting up heroin,
Yes,
enjoy
I
it.
agree
Good.
with you.
Yeah.
I'd rather you spend 10, 20 bucks a month, whatever it is, on WoW, even though I can't care less for the game, than to have you out there doing something stupid or even
Well,
worse, cheating on PUBG and killing me because.
well, you could be $5,000 system with two RTX Titans and then just play WoW.
That
Yo, I
hurt-
wanna
that
I wanna
hurts my
play
soul.
with my
Stop
Good
it.
1080
point.
Ti and go play freaking
That is
RuneScape.
total overkill.
I'm gonna say it in a way that some people do find
I'm
offensive.
sure Devin would. You'll find a way to piss her off.
Devin tries to find that.
Hi, Cher. Nice to meet you.
I was gonna say I call my girlfriend all the time. I was gonna say baby mama, but you know.
Actually, that's what I was thinking about saying. I'm my mama.
I-
You know what I'm saying?
Some people are like, that sounds weird, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Not
I call my
after
girlfriend.
It's
midnight.
okay. I'll stop by the one off
I'm like-
Alpine if I have to.
I'm a baby daddy, so you know I can say it.
You're something. That's for
I
sure.
am. I'm a lot.
You
of
are a
things.
baby daddy. Well,
Oh.
you will be.
Oh shit! Hey,
Yeah.
Greg, go buy wine for the woman before she has a problem.
Now she said howdy. Yeah, see?
Women-
Meet the guys.
Oh,
Love
she
alcohol.
said not after midnight. So that means you
No,
have.
no. There's okay. Where we live in Cherry Valley, which borders Rockford, their alcohol law says that they can't sell after midnight. But right down the street is Rockford, which sells till 2 a.m. It's really
they can never
stupid.
sell
And on Sunday, it's even worse.
If they can't sell after midnight, how do they ever sell it?
Exactly.
They don't. There's
always
like
after
no
midnight.
I say the
bars
same
in
thing about
Cherry
hookers.
Valley or anything. Yeah, Devin, we have a lot of hookers. It's like an epidemic.
Interesting. Really, I don't really see them around where I live. I don't necessarily go looking for them, but I don't see them.
I have WoW still, haven't played in a couple months. I have Titans, Maxwell, and Pastel. Yeah, been playing WoW since Alpha. But Jacob, that's because you're a pleb, so I mean, there's that.
Yeah, and you're really ugly. I don't really know who you are. Well, I recognize your name. I see it all the time.
Devin Christ wants to be black
That was
so
a way,
bad.
though.
I'm so
I love
confused.
Cher. I love Cher so much right now. Oh my god.
Why?
It's out of the way though. She's just like totally ribbing him at this point. It's like
Who?
So
Me?
much sass.
no, to talking to Greg because
No, I know.
We're almost done.
this is great
We're almost
because
done.
Wait, how do you know?
don't let him lie to you. He's probably got like another 2
No
hours
way,
on
dude.
this.
I
with the
just
way we
wanted.
end up.
I said I wanted to cover
Yeah,
the
he said he wants
3D
to spend it with us
transistor,
rather
the
than with you.
3D die stacking, and I just pulled this up, and we'll end it with this. This is what Intel is claiming. This is their current density comparatively, and when they plan to roll out 7 nanometers. So that answered our question from earlier that they will stay on 10 nanometers for 5 years at a minimum.
Interesting.
But as you can see, I mean, this
Sure,
is
you should do that. That's a great
this
idea.
is a pretty. What is she gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask her in on this.
I even
conversation.
told her
I'm, sure
I'm
she
gonna start
loves this stuff.
screaming
We're just
hashtag
taking
me
that.
too when we're out in public, and she hits me.
My girlfriend hates when I just talk about speakers.
I feel
Devin's
like
already more black than you are.
I feel like replacing Devin with Cher on this podcast would be quite
It
interesting.
would actually
That is
be.
completely racist. I
But am I wrong, Devin?
Says the guy that hates pretty much anybody that's not Aryan.
See, the problem I have is this process node density. This chart is actually very bad.
It is. I'm trying to
because
like.
if you notice the way
yeah,
they
that's
scale
what I'm
it,
looking at right
the
here.
way they scale it, the first
Oh, you can't see my mouse
third
cursor.
is 0 to 10.
Yeah, exactly. I was just looking at that.
It's huge measures, so it looks like it's a linear scale when in reality that's
Yeah, I'm just
exponential
looking-
scale.
I'm
It
looking
should
at
be
the
like
number.
way up. Yeah,
So
and if you look, it looks like
it would have
looks like
scaled
they slowed
fine if
down
they
when in
left
reality
it
they didn't.
with like 0 to 100.
I can just imagine Jeffrey watching this and like Googling all the terms being used.
But Greg,
Which terms?
imagine you did this a 1-to-1 scale. So imagine if you did, it'd be a really fucking tall chart,
Yeah.
right? But imagine
Yeah.
you did this. This is actually an exponential
Oh, yeah,
upward
absolutely.
scale. But the way they put this together, it looks like from what was it 2014 or 2015 where they had the 14
Like it was a
nanometer,
small jump.
and then going to 10,
It was a massive jump.
then going to 10 nanometer, it actually looks like they
That's true.
flatlined. When in reality, it's a huge jump.
Well,
up.
I mean, yeah, it actually looks like they got almost the same density improvement based off this graph, which is not true. It's actually less of a density improvement, but it is a huge density improvement. But look at their 7 nanometer estimates. Where the hell does that fall?
Like 5.
I mean, it's a bigger
uh,
increase than the 14 to 10.
That's almost 2.5 times, and it's going to do it from their estimate. That's going to do it in half the time it took 14
Yeah.
to 10.
Well, we know why 14
And
and
it's
10
gonna be-
took that long. Was
And
that
it's
4
going to be
years?
2. And it's
It
going to
is-
be a 2.5 times
Yeah.
density, which means the slice would actually have to, like their layers would have to be super dense, which makes me wonder, because this brings up the same thing I've said 100 times, and I know it's probably wearing on your soul, but thermal
I don't
density.
have one, so you're good.
Thermal density, how is that going to go? That could be
Yeah.
a complete night.
What if we all need chillers to cool the damn things?
But you know what's funny? It turns out that the chiller, High Cookie actually has, it was High Cookie's chiller. I'm just reading.
Well, he has one of them.
Well, he said that it was running at like around 20 C, the chiller was.
Yeah.
So it's really,
That was how they were able to maintain
yeah, it
it.
wasn't like, a lot of people were claiming it was like minus 20 C. It was
No.
chilled, but it wasn't like I mean, it was technically sub-ambient by a few degrees, but it
It
wasn't
was slightly
like,
sub-ambient. Because normal ambient, like an Expo, is like 21.5 to 23 degrees.
and a standard
So-
cooler, like you're not gonna cool that thing at 5 gigahertz, all 28 cores with a single 480 or anything like that. So I mean, it makes a little more sense.
You might.
If you're crazy and you're running short benches, you may get away with
have
it.
Dumped in
Super
like
Pi.
ice water.
Run to Super Pi.
No. I don't want to kill a $3,500 CPU. That just sounds crazy.
Sure you do. It's just money.
Yeah,
I
just
want to see you run Spider Solitaire 5 gigahertz on the 3175X.
Didn't I say I was going to do that with WoW on the 7980XE? Actually, Al.
Look at all
2000
these
FPS.
frames I can't use. Look at them.
Yo, do it on Minecraft. Freaking 1 core utilization.
Do what?
Minecraft uses like one core unless you turn on like dual core, which causes glitches.
I have absolutely no interest in ever trying that game. I saw my nephew play it one time.
See, more than he use frequency and memory. That's it.
Yeah.
No,
But,
it uses memory more than
it will use
frequency.
it benefits from your graphics card too when you start like piling on things like shaders and stuff, but it only uses like 20% of your GPU, and you're like, eh. So if you get a stronger card, you benefit with more frames, but it's still using only a fraction of your card.
Once again, higher frequency. It benefits from higher frequency. It benefits from higher memory frequency, benefits from higher CPU frequency, and higher GPU frequency.
Oh no, I meant like when I went from like a 1070 to a 1080 at the same frequency, like I saw a big boost in performance just because the GPU was stronger by.
How was your 1070 and 1080 the same frequency? 1080 should be higher.
I meant
No, like
they're almost the same.
Oh.
I'm talking about graphics frequency. They were both about the same thing.
What is my... My CPU is only using 14%, and it's set to utilize all 36 threads right now. I don't even know why I have this thing.
Jacob, I was using my 6950X only to stream Smash Bros for the longest time, so I can't say much.
Oh jeez.
That's all it was doing.
I tried gaming on my 2990WX. Not recommended.
No, that is definitely not recommended for several reasons. Oh shit!
Oh,
what did I
wait,
just
real
do?
fast. Going back to Minecraft. Were y'all playing on the Java version or the new C++? That makes I'm pretty sure that makes a big difference.
Oh
It was Java.
Java sucks for stuff like that. C++ version runs like a dream, but there's no mod support. At least last time I checked.
Cher asked the important question, the one burning everyone right now. Can it run Sims 4?
No.
Women love Sims. What is with that?
I'm telling you,
Oh,
man.
I know. No.
I'm telling you.
One of my good friends' wife loves Sims.
But why?
I don't understand.
Maybe it's like a female thing.
Hold on,
like
Cher doesn't even like Sims 4. She hated it.
What?
Yeah.
Really? I was gonna say, like, my girlfriend, like, the only game she cares about, she's like, Devin, why didn't you get me Sims?
Sims 3 is different, though.
Okay, but some women, and I'm saying this especially because my wife's not watching. Some women are fucking evil when it comes to Sims, and they're like, "Hey, look, I put all these people in a pool party, then I took out the ladder. Now they're all gonna drown," and I'm like, "Oh fuck! Like really?" And they do.
Hey, why do you think men die first? Because they slowly kill us.
She locked two chicks in a tower, and they became lesbians. I did not know that game was that in depth. That blew my mind.
Think about the people who code it. I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with y'all?
Awesome. Anytime I tried playing Sims, and I electrocuted my guy, and he died.
I could honestly see Cher for some reason torturing her Sims. See, Sims 3 is better, but still.
I tried playing Sims once, and my guy caught the house on fire trying to make toast, so I gave up.
Yeah, dude.
No. I hope it didn't. I mean, it might have just went out. We'll see in a second.
There's a setting in there that you can actually have a recovery screen up in case it does crash.
I don't know if I did, though. We'll see workflow.
Oh, no, it's up.
Is it the same one, or did it restart?
It's showing a water block on a 28 core.
Huh? That's not what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I see. Okay, on Twitch, I see a water-cooled 28 core with the green LEDs.
This is really weird. Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you guys are saying.
Yeah, you're on display. You're still on display.
But is it still the same one, or is it a different one?
No, it's the same stream.
Okay. So there must have been a window, to allow... I don't know why. OBS just crashed.
Yeah,
that's what happened the other day.
OBS is a big old pile of dicks sometimes. It really is.
A big old pile of dicks.
So much better than Slobs, though.
Better than what?
Slobs. Streamlabs OS.
Oh,
OBS.
yeah, I tried that once.
I hate the
Not a big
Slobs,
fan.
too.
Okay, I'm looking at the Facebook stream, though, and somehow it's showing Christopher Ferrano on there and me. It's like it went backward and... Oh, no wonder, because it, killed the stream.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah, it killed it on Facebook. That's why I don't use Facebook.
Is the stream dead on Facebook entirely?
Probably.
I'm not sure. Let's see.
Let me just refresh my main page. If it started
I'm
up
going
a
to
new
say yes
one,
because I literally went to my BRB screen yesterday and it completely killed my stream.
it seems like it's still going, guys.
That's what I thought. Streams are up. Sebastian, is the Facebook one working?
I recovered, apparently.
Okay, no. It's live on Facebook.
And it is the same stream. Okay. Sorry, guys. OBS crashed.
I can see everyone. No, you can't, Jacob. Okay, Sebastian.
Yeah, it looks like we're okay. But of course, we're right at the end of closing the stream.
Yes, we are.
Unless there's more you want to unless you want to discuss like the three. Is there anything further you want to discuss on the 3D stacking, or
I
you think
didn't
you pretty much covered it?
discuss any of it, dude.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we kind of delved
It
off into
always,
Sims
yeah, it always.
and wine.
How did it get to The Sims?
Because wine, we talked about wine.
Talk
and
about
next
women, and women in The Sims are in the same boat.
She's like, well, that's a wrap. She's ready. She wants that wine really bad. Watch, we're just gonna watch her coming in there and just drag right away.
Not even shot the stream. We're all just gonna be
that
sitting here
laugh
waiting for
Greg
him to
just
get
did
back.
was that like uncomfortable, like you're right kind of laugh.
I know.
Greg's gonna get beat later. I know.
So Greg,
She
Greg,
keeps saying that.
got-
I actually
Greg.
believe her. Yes.
we have 5 solid minutes. Let's 5 minutes. Let's talk about the stacking and get it done. Let's not let it detract us. Let's just do it.
Kick Devin out real
No,
fast so we
well,
can
that's the
get
thing.
to
I
it.
closed all my windows. Let's see.
Well, fuck.
Hold on. No, just give me a second. Gotta figure out.
It's Chrome.
what's
Right
what.
click, reopen, close
No, I
tab.
stopped using Chrome. All my tabs are gone.
Yo,
What is
she's
that
gonna
camera you're holding?
she's gonna be
What?
mad at you. I'm warning you.
Hold on.
Yeah.
It exists. It exists.
Why does he have so many? Why do you have so many cameras?
Let's all just start typing wine in the chat.
Why
Oh
wine,
my
wine,
God.
wine, wine, wine?
Because she posted that. Press F for wine.
Oh yeah, it did completely. Yeah, the stream did completely restart because the Me 6 bot went back up. That's weird.
I said press F for wine,
What
and
is
she
this
put F.
doing?
This is beautiful. I like
Did
her
she say
already,
that?
and I've never met her. Yeah, she put F.
How does she know what F is?
No,
where is she?
I typed press F for wine, and she
Oh.
put F
Wait, where do you
Greg's
see her
just like,
typing?
on Facebook. On
Oh,
the Facebook stream.
oh,
Devin, how many monitors do you have?
I have
Probably-
one.
That's your problem.
I know. I don't have room for another one. I have my lamp over here. I have my tower there. I have some speakers. My desk isn't big enough for like multi-monitors unless I put it above it.
You guys wanna see what I
see?
Yeah. I'd be so far away.
I just see that's the problem. I see Greg pointing his camera around right now on Skype, and I'm waiting
Yeah.
for it to update on the stream.
That's what it's
Oh
happening.
dear. Oh dear.
It's just this is
Clean.
this.
Clean up.
I have to. I kind of
cleaned
cleaned this part a little bit.
Hey, even
Okay.
my desk doesn't look that bad.
I thought for sure you were gonna show her with like a gun to your head or something. She's gonna be standing
Guys,
there
it's
and she's
over.
gonna kill you.
All right, guys, I am gonna. I'm gonna call it quits at this point. Guys, check out the. Oh, hold on. Not before I talk about my keyboard.
Oh God, no, not another Dustin. Come on.
Oh,
I'm not a
Oh, yeah.
child molester.
All right, guys, definitely have to discuss the keyboard here. Oh shit!
Wait,
I
I
just
will
changed
critique
it.
it. There are certain things I
Well, it's green.
particularly
it has clicky keys. See, check this out, and you'll see.
Oh shitty.
Look at that go.
Sounds like
Are those
shit.
are those the green switches? That weird.
It's like proprietary razor.
No, those proprietary razor switches are just
It typed that.
Khalil?
Kale switches.
There you go.
I-
There it was.
I thought you said that was like a vegetable.
Well, no, okay. Kale is in. It's like Kailh or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Let's see how much RAM I'm using. Streaming this.
How
How do I shut this off?
Echoing, Greg.
I don't know how to shut it
I
off.
never bought the keyboard I told you.
What? What did you say? What about the keyboard? Oh, Pete's here. How's it going, Pete? What about the keyboard? Share, don't worry, we're just wrapping up the conversation, and I'm out. Why is it even on that screen? That's not the...
The new ones are not Kale anymore. Shannon.
What? They
is
own
this
them
a
though.
new
What do you
one,
mean?
though? I don't know. I bought this like 6 years
No,
ago.
I'm sorry, that's
or
what Annan
4 years
said.
ago.
I don't know. I don't know.
No,
I'm echoing now?
Razer worked.
Oh, I didn't shut the
Razer
sound
worked
off
with
on it.
Kale on their orange and green switches.
I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure
know. I
they.
use Logitech. I don't give a shit about Razer.
Logi, they use a switch by either Omron, which is their Roamer G switches, or they use like 1 or 2 boards have like browns and browns,
they use
possibly reds.
cemetery.
How do you pronounce the one I use? It's like old Tumaru or something.
I don't remember. I lost track of all the Chinese offshoot switches. I stopped caring.
Yeah, I got. Wait. Let me show what board I got.
I mean, I have Cherrymax Browns on my K95, but the K95 is
There you
kind of
go.
crappily made.
I'll be right
like,
back
eh.
in there.
Jacob posted it. It's Kailh, kale. Whereas what I was telling you, Greg, Kale is the vegetable. Like it's like it's a form of lettuce.
Both of them are green, and both are terrible to eat. So
Yeah.
Well, no, kale's multiple colors.
Shannon, you like
Wow.
How
it?
do we get on this
like what?
topic now?
Because we're stupid.
No, because of keyboard. That's okay. So it was my fault.
and the stupiderness.
Where'd the
Stupiderness.
other part of this go?
Jesus Christ.
Jeez, that's old.
It's Z board. I had to
Yeah,
get
I
it.
know.
Someone was selling it for like $15, and I was like, "Fuck this! I'm getting it."
You guys want to see the very first computer I built?
Oh boy.
Oh, you still got that sitting in front of
No,
you?
I just put it in front of me. Right before we went live. I gotta find the Verge, or not the Verge, the S3 Trio to fire this thing up.
Oh, Greg, I love Cher every time she posts something. I like
does
her
she say
more and
now?
more. She said skinny, ripped women eat kale.
Yeah, Jacob.
She's
my,
not wrong.
Dude,
At
Cher's
all.
awesome. Hey guys, check out my for posterity, okay? What kind of CPU is that? Brand.
I can't see. Is it 478?
No, it's 486, but what brand is it? I
I
can't tell
I
if
can't
it's
see.
showing.
Hold on. Hold on.
AMD.
Yes.
I'm trying to get.
I did
I'm
own an
trying to get a full screen
AMD.
picture. Oh Jesus, that's a way old one.
Yeah, it even has the
Is it-
Sims
Here.
and everything.
Greg, you want me
That's
to
the-
pull out my equity?
That's the old ZIF socket where you had different size chips that didn't use all the
Yep.
pins. Oh God, I remember those. Was that the original? Just not SD-RAM. It was like
Sims.
Yeah, Sims. Exactly. The ones where you had to put in.
Yeah.
It's almost like laptop.
Yeah,
RAM.
let me.
You had to put them in.
Yeah, because
and
I know
snap 'em.
Devin and Llama. Yeah, this is way before your time, guys.
It does. Please tell me that has ISA.
I wasn't
Yeah.
even a sperm yet.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it
purely ISA. PCI had to
Yeah,
come
it's
up.
all
It
ISA.
has
Okay, I wasn't
1,
sure if that was
2,
a newer PCI
3.
board or not because
Okay, it has 4 16-bit and 3 32-bit ISA slots. Actually, holy
Jesus,
shit!
ultra long ISA slots.
Damn right.
Can it share? Can it run The Sims?
I
Um,
about killed myself trying to get this thing
It
out.
may run the original Sim City.
Can we boot it up and try? So now she doesn't even want wine. She wants you to boot an old computer.
I'm gonna boot it up.
Yo, she's becoming like us slowly, and she can't even
she,
help
she
it.
owns the
She's
Alienware.
assimilating.
She's the one. The M15 is hers.
Yo, next she's gonna be shoving you out of the way and taking over like LN2 overcocking.
Overclocking.
She's yeah.
Yeah, overcocking.
Greg, is she gonna start running the podcast soon?
Yeah.
Running it.
Yo, wouldn't it be great if we saw
It'll be
like
interesting.
Greg tied up in the background? Oh, that'd be great.
Actually, you know what? That's not a bad idea, Devin. Maybe we'll start the next stream off that way.
Yo, and
I'll just be tied up.
nailed to the wall. I'll be nailed to the wall. You'll be tied up. Yeah, great way to start things.
Can she pour for you? Does she not a pour? That would be interesting.
I don't know if I trust
Like
her
LN2 assistant?
pouring, and it's not because I am scared of the hardware, and I'm not worried
It's
about the
because it's so-
hardware.
It's so easy to cold bug.
Yeah, that's why.
And the burns.
It's yeah. I just don't want her to just get really upset. Never mind. I'm just gonna cut that conversation off.
Yeah, let's not.
I gotta teach my son to use LN2 eventually.
That
He's a
would be
bit young.
awesome. That would be a cool stream, dude. Once he's able to
He's
do it
2,
safely.
so hopefully by the time we get to
No,
that,
2 or 3 months will be good.
yeah. So just give us another year or so. Yeah, Anon4273 got it right. He's streaming on Twitch, or watching the stream on Twitch. And it's not because I don't think she's capable.
She's letting the truth out right now. She said, I'll just troll the podcast. And then she put,
Where did
trust
she
me.
say that?
So fast.
It's in Facebook.
I'm not seeing any of this. I
This
just
is why
saw
I can't
what a
stand
douche
Facebook
canoe.
streaming.
But was that recently?
She
Yeah,
posted it like a minute
Is
or
she
two
calling
ago.
me a douche canoe?
Hold on.
Sebastian said, "Can I be your son?"
Oh yeah, that's right. Sebastian Swick. No.
Sebastian, you can be Devin's son.
Yeah, Devin would. I don't know. The Sebastian.
Even though I think Sebastian's older than Devin.
How old is he?
I don't know. I don't know how old Sebastian is.
No, but what were we just talking about before we got distracted?
We
Fuck,
were.
Oh, the old.
We were talking about we were
486.
gonna give 5 minutes. We were gonna give 5 minutes to talk about 3D stacking, and then you were like, you know what? You're like, I'm just gonna call it quits, and then you're like, hold on, I got to show you
You're
the
right.
keyboard. And
then I got into the whole other thing. From now on, we're winging every single one of these tech talks.
trying to have like a schedule really gets problematic because we just detract from it, which is kind of what makes it good. Is we have a natural conversation,
way
not, like,
better that
following
way.
a strict rule. Because that's how you get like real like engage. You really have like an enjoyable conversation versus having to follow a very set guideline.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I really did enjoy this conversation.
Yeah. We have more requests for wine. I think it's time. I think it's time for you to go.
Yeah,
Greg.
I'm out. But yeah, guys, okay. So no, I actually upgraded this.
Share. It was nice
These
to
are
meet you. Or kind of
16
digitally.
megabyte sticks. I'm actually really impressed.
Oh, wow.
So this thing had
High roller.
32 megabytes at the time of.
I remember when
Sims.
I had 4 megabyte dims, or not dims.
Oh, I have a
even,
ton
they
of
were
them.
Sims.
I have a ton of those old ones. I remember I had this one. I ended up just putting random sizes because this is long before multi-channel memory. And
that was back. That was
I got
back before you had
96
timings.
megabytes. I was just like, oh my god, on an old Pentium
Greg.
90. I was so impressed. It did nothing.
Greg, remember this is when they used to call them wait states.
Yes. Times have changed
Before we had the
so
whole
much.
timings. I know, dude. It's like it makes me nostalgic sometimes. I'm like, wow.
Greg,
Cher writes, it was lovely, as if she knows what we're talking about. Yes, Llama.
Annan said he should make a wine-cooled PC. His wife might like it.
Oh.
And then apparently Sebastian's 25.
Oh,
Ah, we were the same age.
we need that Russian vodka PC. We see about Russian vodka. I did not do Russian today. It was probably a good idea because we will not go anywhere. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap up stream for this week because Cher does not seem to be comprehending any of this, and she's trying to act like she knows what we are talking about,
Oh.
and that crosses line.
No, Jacob, you can't. You're not allowed in. No one likes you.
I won't think
All right,
about it,
guys.
Jacob.
Hey.
I got a lot of people wanting to join, and then some of them just don't show up.
Nah,
It's
Jacob's
like
not
the
cool
second
enough.
time it's happened.
It's damn near 1 a.m.
Yeah,
guys.
we're done.
I do have
We're
to
done.
go.
So, guys, thanks for tuning in. It's been a fun conversation. You guys said a lot of numbers with letters, but it was cool. Thanks, Cher. We enjoy talking about numbers and letters.
Oh, and here's George.
Okay, guys, but we do have the white one. I don't even know what's going on at this point.
Talking about my llama.
Okay, but guys, tune in next week where we will probably not even pick topics of discussion. We'll just talk about tech. That's our first couple streams where we didn't even talk about any particular topics went the smoothest.
I think, you know what? We just look at what happened last week. All of us just kind of throw things in
Yeah.
as we think it's appropriate. Call it a day.
Yeah, because I mean, some of this was kind of over. I don't think Devin had any input this entire conversation.
I feel bad. That's why I don't like the set things, because while me and you may enjoy discussing it, we're isolating sometimes Llama and sometimes Devin or other people.
It's true.
Because they don't necessarily talk some of the higher level architecture stuff that me and you enjoy and could. I mean, we could discuss it at certain times.
Yeah, I mean,
but
we could just bring it up naturally. I could be like, hey, Shannon,
Yeah.
what do you think about this? And then we could have a short conversation and then, just keep it interesting for everybody. So,
and
Jacob,
then segue away from it.
yeah, Jacob will talk later because there's quite a few people. Oh, and Shannon, I don't know if you saw, Gadget Joe might be joining us. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I saw that.
And also Jordan Hyde
be
wants to
very
join
fun.
eventually. We'll probably be talking XOC when that time comes. So I got to go grab some LN
Sure.
too. But Jacob, yeah, we'll figure something out, man.
You know,
And
I'm always down whenever I can. I can't guarantee I'm going to be
Oh
here
yeah,
every
absolutely. I
single
can't
one,
even
but I'll
guarantee
do my- I'll
that
do my
I will
best.
be able to do this every Friday and Saturday. I had only intended to do this once a week. This week is the third day in a row I'm doing it, and I guarantee we won't have another live stream until next Friday at a very minimum.
Yeah, I've done 3 podcasts in the past 30
Yeah,
hours.
you did
so-
one before this one, and then you were here also for the one last night. So
Yeah. So
Shannon,
I'm about podcasting out. For
yeah,
a
you
week.
and I both. We're not calling this a podcast anymore, by the way, guys.
We're live streamed out for about a
love
week.
this.
Yeah, these
podcast.
are live streams at this point. We're calling it Talking Tech, and I will convert these into audio, and they will be podcasts. But I gotta clip every conversation into a coherent conversation, and we will have them
Good
on all the
luck.
platforms with an RSS stream. But Shannon, thanks for taking the time out of your day to manage to stay awake through three live streams and podcasts. Devin,
Oh, it's all good. No, I really enjoyed it.
oh,
Thanks,
dude,
guys.
seriously, you make the conversations just so interesting for me personally because we do talk on similar topics.
Kind of the same
and
level.
the same level. It's enjoyable. Devin, of course, thanks for just hopping in and keeping us entertained today. That was fun.
Thank you for not dying, or you could die right at the end. I
Might as well
guess.
just come on for posterity.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm gonna do it
You're not
tonight.
gonna
I'm just gonna, just.
Just because we told you to.
He's got a buck tradition, then just drop.
Bye,
Hey,
Devin.
guys.
All right, guys.
All right, guys, have a good night. Thank you for joining us. Llama, thanks for joining in because actually initially Llama couldn't join in. Llama, honestly, you're amazing having on the stream because you help me a lot personally because I can't look at 3 different chats on top of, controlling the stream.
Wait, what do you mean three chats? I've only been looking at 2.
I
YouTube,
tried
I don't
YouTube.
look at that.
So I'm
Oh
I don't
shit!
No, it's on my personal channel. I never use it. I just tried it to see how stable everything is. So we did manage to stream to 3 platforms successfully, aside from when OBS crashed, but that was a software issue. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next
I'm
week.
gonna strangle
What's that?
Annan. I'm gonna strangle Annan.
You go for it.
Is it a llama or an alpaca in the background?
All right, boys, have a good night, and everybody else out there, keep it real. And we'll see you guys next
Take
week.
care, gentlemen.
Bye.
Take care, gentlemen and
Take
ladies.
care, boys.
Bye.
Peace.